Her car seat looks like the right size.
There are probably rules on when to move up to a booster seat, aren't there?
Rear facing, forward facing. I think I have it right.
Car crashes are a leading killer of children 1 to 13. Are your children in the right car seat for their age and size? Don't think you know. Know you know. Go to safercar.gov/the right seat.
I know my child's in the right car seat, or else I wouldn't get in the driver's seat.
Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
The New England Patriots predictably ran roughshod over the hapless New York Giants on Monday Night Football in a game that was full of storylines, if not real competitive football. While the Patriots became the first team in the NFL to reach 11 wins, the Giants found new ways to stink up the joint on special teams, while rookies Jaxson Dart continues to take big hits and Abdul Carter got benched for the second time in 3 weeks for missing yet another team meeting. We will cover it all, and including the now MVP favorite in Vegas, Drake Maye's incredible sophomore season. And the baseball winter meetings are just around the corner, so we are going to dive deep inside baseball and cover some of the early trades and signings of the offseason before we crack a six-pack with Speedy and make some Week 14 NFL picks on another all-gas, no-breaks, styling and profiling, wheeling and dealing, live Wednesday night edition of Jabba and the Mouth.
Going to give him a significant. They're going to have a ton of money to spend. Why not put it in one of the top 3 offensive players in the league? We're going to be looking at Aaron Judge and saying that he can't win the big game. Michael Jordan said, I played 82 games. You don't see LeBron doing that.
This is a game where you got to go perform.
I told you, Giant fans, and Saquon Barkley, at this point,
I'm gonna fight them all. A 7-nation army couldn't hold me back. They're gonna rip it off. Taking time.
Say whatever you want about Patrick Mahomes. He's the best quarterback in the NFL. Really?
And I'm talking to myself at night because I can't forget. Back and forth through my mind behind a cigarette. And the name's coming from my eyes. Can't let it alone.
Let's do it. You're listening to Jabba and the Mouth.
631-672-3108 is the number to call. You're listening to Jabba and the Mouth. You know who I am. My name is Errol Marks. My co-host, Mr. Flamethrower, ex-New York Yankee, Cleveland Guardian, Kansas City Royal, Jabba Chamberlain, and Speedy Petey. You just heard him, our executive producer, Mr. Aaron Fishman. Tommy Poops on the board. On the back end, our PR guy, Mr. NR Hour, Mr. Nith, who's going to spit, hopefully not spit on himself. And the one and only intern himself, Mr. Jarrett. Anyways, you can go to our website at www.worldwidesportsradio.com. Check out all our shows throughout the week, including Jabba and the Mouth, every single Mondays and Wednesdays at 7:30 p.m. All you have to do to tune in and check out our local listings for all our shows is go to our website at www.worldwidesportsradio.com. You know, it's been an interesting week, and it's interesting for me because I'm always home now. I've been really just relaxing, enjoying the happy life of just hanging out at home and finding things to do. And I'm a guy that really just likes to hang out and clean. That's something that kind of soothes me. When I'm bored, I'm just trying to find something to do, and cleaning is like my forte. It's my thing. But what I've been doing over the last couple of weeks is writing. And I wrote a story last night. I spent almost 2 hours last night into this morning writing a story about New York sports. And if you haven't read it, I sent it out to a bunch of people that listen to the show, and it's going to be on Reddit. It's going to be on so many different platforms. I want everybody that is a New York sports radio fan to read this story. It is a great story. I'm not saying it because I wrote it. I put a lot of effort, a lot of time into it. And if you know me personally, you watch this show, you know that every single word I used in this story was me. And it's called The Funeral and Resurrection of New York Sports Radio. Why the suits killed it and why voices like mine will save it. And I did this not to put myself on a pedestal. I didn't do that. That's not why I wrote it and why I added that to the title. I added it to the title because I've been nothing but honest about New York sports. And there's so much breaking news. People being dropped from WFAN. McPherson decided to step down. He says he wasn't fired. That's a whole nother story. I don't know the inside take. Now the midday show is gone. They're moving Evan and Tiki to the midday show. They're bringing back Craig Carton. It didn't work out with Fox. So I had my own take on it, and I'm not taking shots at Craig Carton. Craig Carton has a big following. I understand why they brought Craig Carton back. What I don't understand is why doesn't WFAN look at other talent out there? Some of the new talent that brings a different view, brings a different viewership to their network. That was my attack in this story. And I went on the ins and the outs of what New York sports was and what New York sports has become and what it should be in the future. And I just absolutely dropped the hammer on what I think New York sports has really just passed through when it comes to accomplishments that Mike Francesca, Mike and the Mad Dog, and what sports media and sports radio really revolutionized to bring it and open up waves around the country. And I had to attack it the way I attacked it. And I'm not taking shots at all the suits from ESPN or WFAN. And if that's the way you take it, well, then you don't know me. I did this because I am completely appalled by the way the networks are being run right now. I don't think it's right. I don't think it's right that they don't look at the massive amount of great young talent that is out there, that all they have to do is listen and hear it and give it a chance. Even if you don't sign it for a significant amount of time, have them fill in, not have your producers fill in because you think, hey, this guy might have a voice for this business. How about bringing in new talent that actually have a voice, that actually have been doing this a significant amount of time, absolutely have helped the digital wave of the industry and help some of the guys in the industry move up and become high-profile producers for those networks or high-profiled personalities for those networks. That's where I'm lost on the way this business is being run. And that's all I'm going to say about that. If you really want to check out this story, I was nothing but honest. I was funny. If you know who I am, you know that it was my humor, my analogies, my personality, all stamped to one story. I didn't send it to Jabba. At the end of the show, I will send it to Jabba. I think people that understand what sports is and New York sports is will appreciate why I did this. And hopefully the suits, the directors, the producers in this industry right now will take a chance and read it and understand what I'm trying to say. Not thinking that I was taking a shot at them, but understand that this should be a more open, road or open door for fans and talent to take a look at what the future could be with sports radio. And that's all I'm going to say about that. Jabba, what's up, man? How is Nebraska?
It's getting cold. We got up to, it was colder this morning when I got up to go to the gym than it is now. It's about 12 degrees now. It's going to get down to probably about 3. That's just regular temperature, probably wind chill, probably minus teens, somewhere in there. So it's going to be a frosty one. It'll be an ice rink outside because everything kind of melted this week. We got up to the upper 30s, so which is warm for this time. And we had 2 inches of ice and about 3 or 4 inches of snow, depending on where you're at, and then some wind.
Is that why you're wearing a beanie?
Dude, it's cold. Like I said, it just got colder throughout the day. This one I can't put all the way over. This is Carter's team, but it gets too hot and it's like super warm. But I got a bald skillet now, so I got to keep this thing. When it gets cold, I got to keep this thing warm. So
there you go. It's nice and cold over there in Nebraska. I would say the same here in New York. It's about in the 30s, and I love this weather, so I'm not going to argue about it. I absolutely think that this is the best weather because the insects are not making sounds anymore. You can walk outside and just hear dead air. It's fantastic. So it's my favorite time of the year. At 8 o'clock, he will be joining us for our baseball segment. Our friend, Washington Nationals radio play-by-play broadcaster Charlie Slows will be joining us. We'll talk a lot of baseball with him. It's his off season, so I'm sure he has his own take on what the offseason is going to be like for the Yankees, the Mets, what it's transitioning into for the Mets. Looks like it might be a good offseason if they can get Pete Alonso signed on a dotted line, Edwin Diaz, and maybe make a move for a pitcher coming out of Detroit. Who knows? At 8:45, we will be talking to former Chargers and Broncos cornerback Quentin Jammer will be joining us for the first time on the show. Thank you to Niv for landing this wonderful guest. But we got a lot to get into. And the story that we have to get into are the New York Giants, and they are absolutely putrid right now. The Patriots blew out the Giants on Monday Night Football 33-15 to become the first team in the NFL to win 11 games. It was also their 10th straight win, putting the Patriots into the number 1 seed in the AFC. A half of a game ahead of the Broncos, the Giants head into their bye week at 2-11, second worst in the NFL behind only the Titans. Drake Maye is now the betting favorite at -135 to win the 2025 MVP, moving slightly ahead of Matthew Stafford, which is a +125. In the odds, in what Vegas is saying is basically a 2-man race for the award. Dak Prescott is a distant third at 15-1. With Jordan Love fourth at 19-1. Mike Vrabel, in his first year with the Patriots, is also the favorite to win Coach of the Year this season. He then took shots at the Giants GM, Joe Shane, who cut defensive tackle Corey Durden during the preseason, only for him to be the 18th best defensive tackle in the NFL by PFF standard for the Patriots. Jaxson Dart took another big hit going out of bounds, but said after the game, "This is football. We're not playing soccer out here. You're going to get hit." The Giants' other first-round pick, Abdul Carter, was benched for the first quarter after missing yet another team meeting. Apparently, this has been an issue for Carter all season that led to fines from former coach Brian Daboll and 2 benchings in 3 games. Now, I don't know what's going on with Abdul Carter. I don't know, but in the offseason, the Giants are going to have to figure this out because whoever they bring in, if they can't control this kid, you're going to have to move him. You can't control a kid because he thinks he's that much better than his position and where he is on the team, then he doesn't fit with the Giants. He doesn't fit the Giants culture. Mara needs to step in. He needs to sit down with this kid in the offseason and figure out what is going on in his, I guess, little pea brain, because you're playing for an organization that's been around a very, very long time, that's had so many great, talented pass rushers. Abdul Carter was expected to be one of the best players in this class. He's looked good up and down this year. He's had his good games, and he's had his games he's disappeared. His excuses after the game, to me, are null and void. I could care less what he has to say. You don't show up to a practice. I don't care who the coach is. You have to figure out what your priorities are. Your priorities are team. It's not me. And if it's a me thing, he is not going to fit the culture of what the Giants like to draw to their reputation. I know the Mara family. I don't know personally, but I've met John Mara before. I've met Steve Tisch. They seem like straightforward guys, and they believe in that old style of football, teamwork football. And ownership has to step in and have a conversation with this kid. If he thinks he's bigger than the game, he's not going to fit moving forward. As far as the Giants protecting Jaxson Dart, well, they need to figure this out in the offseason, because they're going to be a high draft pick. Are they going to trade down, or are they going to stay pat at number 2 or number 3? If they stay pat, they get the best offensive lineman in this class. They're going to have to. Look at the Jets. Say whatever you want about the Jets team as a whole this year. Their offensive line has been their strength. What did they do at number 7? I think it was number 7. They went after Membu. Membu's been one of the best offensive linemen in all of football. Made some mistakes this past week. Nevertheless, he's been one of the more persistent and has the most precision at the right tackle position in the whole league. In PFF, I think he's ranked in the top 10 in almost every single statistic. The Giants have Thomas, who can't stay healthy. The Giants need to figure out what they're going to do on that right side, or are they going to move Thomas to the right side because of his health issue? Jaxson Dart has been the only bright side to all of this. The guy goes out there, he plays hard. He needs to figure out how to stop running and putting himself in harm's way. He looks like Mark Sanchez was in his first 2 years with New York Jets.
How do you tell a kid to stop knowing the game that he's playing? I feel like that's when they get really hurt.
I don't know. I think obviously whoever they bring in as their head coach is going to have to sit down with him and say, listen, you want to have a long-lasting career or do you want to have a 5-year career? Think about it. And I think
we talked about that too before, kind of touching on it, but I get like how he wants to play, but man, if you're going to keep doing that, you're not going to be the guy you want to be, because you can't withstand that. I mean, I obviously never played at that position or at that level, but I don't even want to hear the sound of it, like, let alone have it happen to me over and over again.
I would agree with you, Jabba. And I think obviously the organization needs to figure out first who the coach is going to be, and then the offensive coordinator, and then figure out how they're going to build this kid's confidence in the pocket. We've seen this with Lamar Jackson when he came into the league. Everybody thought he was going to be run. He figured out how to throw the ball and be more completion ready as a quarterback. And once he figured that out, I think Lamar Jackson became one of the more efficient quarterbacks in the league, stepping into the pocket and making the throws. But as far as the Drake Maye saga and the thought that he is going to be the MVP, he is not the MVP of the league. I'm sorry. I don't care what Vegas says. He can win out his games, and he probably will, because the schedule is just absolutely easy. If you look at the way the schedule is set up, this is the 3rd easiest schedule in NFL history. 3rd in NFL history. Think about that. And you're going to give a guy that has one of the easiest schedules in the NFL the MVP. I'm not taking shots at Drake Maye. I think he's had a sensational year. Is he a top 5 quarterback? Absolutely. Mikey C was right about this. He is a top 5 quarterback. There's no question that he is. But would he be a top 5 quarterback if his schedule was like, I don't know, Matthew Stafford's? Matthew Stafford had a bad game this past week against Carolina. No question that he did. But Matthew Stafford never throws 3 interceptions in a game. I don't even remember the last game he threw into 3 interceptions in a game. So that was, to me, just a shocker. And he was the favorite. Now, all of a sudden, Drake Maye beats the Giants, a team that's absolutely horrible. And we've seen the way they've played over the last couple of weeks, even with Kafka taking over for Dable. We're going to sit here today and think that Drake Maye is the MVP of the National Football League? Ridiculous take. Vrabel is the coach of the year. I don't think you could argue that. Him or McDonald. McDonald's been sensational this year. I can't take any confidence away from what McDonald has built over there with the Seattle Seahawks. And he's got a lot of confidence over there. I think the team has built a great reputation offensively, one of the more persistent, and have so much precision over there offensively. And this is a defensive-minded coach that's really transitioned. Everybody says that defensive coaches can't succeed as an offensive and defensive guy. Well, McDonald has proven that that is not a fact. But I'm going to tell you this right now. The Patriots, they are on a streak. They've won 10 games in a row. But the way their schedule is set up, is this going to benefit them when they get into the playoffs and they're matched up against one of the better teams in the AFC? I don't know, because I don't care. And by the way, there were a lot of cheap shots in that game for the Patriots. A lot of cheap shots. Jaxson Dart, there was a lot of talking at the line of scrimmage, defensive tackles, speaking to Jaxson Dart when he was trying to get up. I think Jaxson Dart was pretty adamant on after the game. He says, this is football, and and this is the way the game is played, but the Patriots were headhunting. They were trying to hurt him. And the Giants, who have been an organization that obviously have players that stick up for their quarterback. We've seen Eli Manning over the years get pulverized by teams. And then you see Michael Strahan, or you would see, I don't know, Justin Tuck or O.C. Manure, or one of these guys come to his defense. I've seen it many, many times. Remember Antoine Roll? I remember he got Eli Manning in one game got headhunted, and Antoine Roll went after one of the safeties that did it in the game. So after the game, he went after him. So there are things that you do in football that obviously gives you the confidence and shows that you're backing up your player. And I don't think the Giants have done that enough this year for Jaxson Dart. I think he has to be more of a leader and not sit back and say, this is football. I understand what he's trying to do, but if I'm at the media and I'm speaking to the media, I know I'm being attacked. And these guys are talking crap all game long at me. You can see it on television, and you can see how many memes have been out there of the Patriots doing it, and nobody's protecting him. Nobody on the Giants' offensive line was protecting when they were going on. They were laying on top of him, and you see one of the defensive tackles getting up and still talking crap, and nobody's getting in his face. You cannot do that. You gotta take these guys by their necks and tell them, you F with my quarterback, I'm going to beat the hell out of you. It just, to me, it doesn't show the confidence. And if I was Jaxson Dart, I'd be deathly afraid if I have an offensive line that's not protecting me the way they should. As far as where the Broncos are probably the worst second-place team, and I think the Patriots are the worst first-place team we've ever seen. And that doesn't take away what they're doing this year. They're just really, the Patriots' schedule has been horrible, and the Broncos have won more games with 3 or less points than any team in football. Their offense is horrible. Sean Payton's supposed to be the mastermind of the offensive style of game. Him and Andy Reid are specifically the smartest guys, and Sean McVay. And to me, the offense has been horrible, but the defense has been absolutely unbelievable, even without Patrick Surtain being 100% healthy. And Dak Prescott deserves a little bit more love than third place. I'm sorry. I think he's been as good as any one of these quarterbacks. With all the losses and losing Michael Parsons in the beginning of the season, all the attacks, new coach, everybody attacking this guy all offseason because the Patriots. The Cowboys gave him a $60 million contract extension. Everybody's saying he's not worth it. Jerry Jones doesn't know what he's doing. He's senile. And they bring in one guy that a lot of people thought they couldn't control. And by the way, they have in George Pickens, who's become one of the top 4 wide receivers in the league this year. I mean, you have to give Dak Prescott a little bit more love for that.
I think they are like everything that obviously we've been saying on the show, you specifically, and it's like everybody kind of is that. I think the common denominator is like he does deserve more respect, and he's always in the conversation. It's like we talk about with Poops. He's always the bridesmaid, never the bride, and he's always in the conversation. And listen to shows this morning off and on. It's kind of what everybody says, and what we've been saying is like he needs to deserve a little bit more love for what he's done in the last 5 years. But everybody's like, I think we do, but he's always in the conversation. He's just not like the conversation. And it's kind of unfair. Does he probably really care? Not really. But I do think he needs more love. And I think it's being shown. It's not to like what it should be for the things that he's done on the field.
Speedy, I know you're a Giant fan, and you've watched the Giants your whole life, and you root Big Blue, and you watched your quarterback get pulverized in a game. By the way, their kicker, whatever. That was embarrassing, by the way. Absolutely embarrassing.
It doesn't count as a missed field goal, though. He was still perfect for the day.
I don't know. Maybe he thought he was doing some kind of ballerina move, because that was probably the worst thing I've ever seen a kicker do in a game. I've never seen something like that before in my life. You're up there, and all you're supposed to do is kick the ball. and you kick your foot into the dirt. That's what you did. And you stood there looking, and all you could see is Jaxson Dart's face and say, and I read his lips, "Are you effing kidding me?" I mean, think about it. If you look at Jaxson Dart's view when the cameras were on him, he was like shaking his head. "Are you effing kidding me?" I mean, I don't think that would have helped the Giants, but what an embarrassment. That is just so embarrassing. Any Giant fan watching it probably were like, what the hell? I would have absolutely, completely dropped him after the game. Okay, you're done. You're done. I don't want to see you. I've seen enough of you.
The memes were great, though.
What is his last name? What is his last name? Cool. I'm going to say we're done with Koo-you, all right? Cuckoo.
Koodaloo.
He's cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs or something.
That was a good one, Speedy. That was a good one.
Yeah. Well, anyways,
Yeah,
go ahead.
I was going to say the Daniel Jones slipping on his feet blooper will be, I guess, lost in infamy as long as that one's going to go on for another 10 years. But going back to what you were saying with Dart, though, yeah, he's got to learn how to be able to slide and protect himself a lot better than he has to.
Reminds me of Mark Sanchez.
And yeah, it's definitely not ideal. You saw Cam Newton do that at the beginning of his career, too, when he tried to power his head.
Let's call Aaron Boone.
Maybe they should, but nevertheless, it's an instinctual thing that Dart has to figure out how to play because, yes, the offensive line is bad, but a lot of the hits that he's taking are also outside the pocket when he's running or rolling out, too. And that's on him or the play calling because, yes, Brian Dable definitely affected some of it, too. And that was a big reason he got fired as well. But they're doing it with a second coach, too. And now the issues come to a rookie quarterback. He's a rookie. He deserves a little bit of a pass. Understandable. But he's going to have to learn that if he wants to play a long enough career as a franchise quarterback. Abdul Carter, he's going to have to learn how to show up to meetings on time. He's going to have to learn how to do some of the things that learn from what Kayvon Thibodeau did wrong his rookie year, too, because he was doing a lot of crap like that, too. And that was a reason he didn't develop.
This is worse.
This definitely looks worse because now he's doing with two different coaching staffs now. And he's a guy that was a highly more touted prospect. And Thibodeau had some flair, like flashy personalities out of his career out of Oregon. Carter was not thought of that way to the same extent. And he was supposed to be that good leader, that good defensive leader as a youngster. And now you're seeing all this stuff. You can't blame Dable on that forever. Now you're doing it 3 different times as in that case. Patriots, yeah, they're playing an easy schedule. They're a pretty well-rounded team, but yet nothing special overall. Their offensive players are still kind of a question mark. Defense still has some areas and key positions where I agree with you. They're kind of like the 3rd or 4th team I would trust in the AFC right now. Drake May is definitely second for MVP, but like you said, Stafford's played a harder schedule. He just threw his first interception in 28 touchdowns in that game against the Panthers.
I will say this, and for all the fans out there that are Giant fans, you have to understand that the Giants have always been the epitome of respect. And Tom Coughlin and Bill Parcells, they drew the line from players like this. Abdul Carter would never last on any of those teams. As a matter of fact, Bill Parcells would have said to him, go home, get off the field. Tom Coughlin would have sent him home during the game. I mean, this is an embarrassment.
You know what though, Errol? None of those teams were 2-11. I get it, and I'm pissed off about it too as a Giants fan.
Don't make any excuse for him. Don't make any excuses for him.
I'm just gonna throw it out there. There's no leadership on this team if you can't get your top guy that you drafted to buy in. It's just as simple as that. It's embarrassing. The Vrabel calling out Joe Shane thing I loved. Vrabel even goes, he had a quote. He goes, the Giants didn't think he was good enough to be a Giant. We think he's good enough to be a Patriot. And now he's a top 20 defensive tackle in the NFL. It's unbelievable the amount of mistakes Shane's made with that roster. Look, you could say about Thibodeau and them, just not being that good. But the offensive line, Errol, I'm gonna defend the offensive line. It's the best unit on the team. They're a top 15 offensive line in all of the NFL. Since Andrew Thomas came back to the league, he is ranked 3rd in the NFL in PFF score for offensive tackles, both left.
Taking shots at Andrew Thomas.
Well, I'm saying he's the best. He doesn't need to switch to the right side. Illuminor's fine on the right.
It's health. I would move him to the right side.
They don't need to draft a tackle at 2 is my point. There's no reason for it. They need to trade the hell down if they're going to buy into Jaxson Dart. That's the obvious thing to do and get a bunch of assets for the future. I just want to throw a little bit of love to the Giants offensive line because there's nothing else to throw love behind. I was watching that kick in the middle of the show on Monday, Errol. I almost threw up in the middle of the show. I couldn't believe what I was watching. I coach kickers for high school football. I've never even seen one of my kids do that. this guy's got like the Chuck Knobloch level yips. And with that baseball reference, we have a guest in, Errol.
We do. And before we invite him in, I want to say one more thing about the Giants game, and we'll get Charlie in. I have to say this because I know you're all Giant fans. I know Fish, you're a Giant fan. I know Speedy, you're a Giant fan. And I know Mr. Poops is a Giant fan. You cannot make any excuses for Abdul Carter. There is no reason to make excuses for a guy that is supposedly supposed to be a leader. He was a leader at Penn State. Penn State, there was up and downs when he was there last year. No matter what was going on with Penn State, he was a leader there. And you're going to go out there and you're going to make excuses. There's no leadership here. Okay, there's no leadership with the Giants. That's fine. You're the number one pick for the New York Giants this past year. You were the, third pick of the draft, and you were supposed to be the most coveted, talented player in this class. And you're going to go out there, not show up to practices, not show up to team meetings, do whatever you want because you think you're bigger than the team. I'm sorry. There's no excuse to that, and you can't make excuses to that. And that's all I'm going to say about that. And I am tired of hearing Giant fans make excuses for any player, just like I don't make any excuses for Jet players for what we've seen over the years. Garrett Wilson was one that dropped the hammer on Sauce Gardner this year and Quentin Williams, and where are they right now playing for different teams? Speaking of somebody very special, before we get him in, this show is brought to you by Omaha Steaks. And ladies and gentlemen, they're giving an extra 10% off on all orders to all Job in the Mouth fans. Just click the link by going to omahasteaks.com/jobinthemouth or go to the website at worldwidesportsradio.com and click the Omaha Steaks logo. And ladies and gentlemen, if you want to spend some money on beef, you like them thick, you like them long, you like them skinny, whatever you like them like Speedy does. If you like to eat the dark meat, the dry meat, whatever you like, you can get 10% off Omaha Steak beef. All you got to do is hit the Jabba in the Mouth link. And now, ladies and gentlemen, he loves his Omaha Steaks. I'm sure he does. And he loves us, and we love him too as well. Ladies and gentlemen, the Washington Nationals radio play-by-play broadcaster, our friend, the one, the only, Charlie Slows. Charlie, what's up, buddy?
I may be clicking that link right after the show.
There's a bunch of specials right now, Charlie. There's some good ones.
Go. Because who doesn't like steak?
Look at you. You're still sexy, Charlie. You're still sexy.
That's a lot. That's a lot of me you got up there.
Yeah, a lot of meat. A lot of meat with a lot of you.
How you guys doing?
We're good, man. How are you? I'm so happy to get you on. I know you've been very, very busy. The season is over. You get to watch that wonderful baseball over there in National World, in Washington National World. But we all know we all know you come from the New York area. So, I mean, there's something to say about that. But we got a lot of baseball to get into, my friends. And to let you get into the conversation, we're going to bring some fish in, and we're going to get into it because there's so much that we need to get into. And we're going to whip around right now.
Now let's go deep inside.
What? I am excited.
This is Inside Baseball.
All right. Charlie, welcome to our segment, Inside Baseball. Thanks for humoring us tonight. We got a bunch of topics we'd like you to have some input on going on in the early offseason here so far this year. So let's get into the Inside Baseball viewpoint here, and we'll get it going with our first topic tonight. And we should have the music going.
Anyone?
Tommy doesn't know where the music is.
I'm not doing any cricket time.
There we go. We got it. Here it is. The Mets have given Devin Williams quite a large contract. 3 years, $51 million, $6 million of which is a signing bonus. So it's really 3 years, $45 million. No opt-outs or options, deferred over the span of 3 years for that signing bonus. So Williams follows Juan Soto as Yankees acquisitions who bolted for Uncle Stevie's money over in Queens the last 2 years. Advanced analytics say Williams was very unlucky last year and should have been much better than he was. That's kind of funny because I remember him being mostly horrendous for a team that needed him to be much better than that. I'm sure it'll work out for the Mets, though. Errol.
I love it. I think it's great for the Mets. Edwin Diaz has a chance to be a Met too. I think the Mets will re-sign him. And then you have probably the best 1-2 punch in baseball in your bullpen. I think Devin Williams was very unlucky last year. Now you just got to get Pete Alonso signed to the dotted line. And then maybe you make a run for Skubal. I think it makes a lot of sense for the Mets rotation. You will add Skubal and Devin Williams, and you bring back Pete Alonso and Edwin Diaz. I think you have the best summer out there. I think it's a slam dunk for the New York Mets.
Charlie, we're going to bring you into this one. So what do you think about this?
Well, I think they have to sign Diaz. I mean, he's the guy that's really proven. I mean, Williams' best days in the big leagues, really 1 year as a closer. Before that, a setup guy. And he had a lot of issues last year pitching for the Yankees. And I guess you put me in the category of being old when you mentioned that he was unlucky based on expected stats. So I'm going to throw a question to Jabba. Don't you wish when you were playing, your agent could negotiate a deal on expected stats versus what actually happened? I mean, now when a hitter's getting credit for a ball is hit, and it doesn't matter if it's caught or not. I mean, it's expected stats now mean more than what actually happens.
Yeah, it's weird too. And if you go even a step further, Charlie, too, it's like, okay, he got out, but his exit velocity and all the other stuff that they have, and it's like then they translate it to Parks, and he would actually hit 10 more homers or whatever. And a lot of pitchers are doing that with like their vertical and horizontal rise on certain mounds when they look at like, hey, I pitch better here, and then now they're doing the analytics of the way the mound sits, and this, which is way above my pay grade. I don't know how they do that or whatever. Now on the scoreboard, you can see it as it happens. But yeah, I don't know how to quantify the fact it's like, okay, I'm getting credit for being kind of good, but it didn't really do. I think it's a great sign for both in the way they kind of structured the deal, obviously. And it's not like anything is going to catch him off guard now, just because the Mets are a little different than the Yankees, but not as much as going from Milwaukee to New York and especially with the Yankees. So I think it's great too. And I think for him, he's not going to have all the pressure if they do sign Diaz back. If they don't, we could be having a different conversation when it comes down to what happens at the end of the game.
Yeah, I like it for this.
You think the expected stats are going to matter for Kyle Schwarber? I don't think so.
I think he just is who he is. Yeah. I was going to mention the expected stats too, because the Brewers were kind of skewed the other way. Like I think in that park, and Charlie, I know you broadcasted a lot of games there too. It mostly turn into a pitcher's park sometimes when the roof is closed. It could be open, and then it could be a hitter's park again. So it could fluctuate with that. With the Yankees, it's the other extreme, and all the AL East ballparks, the other extreme. Now the Mets, it's a different case where they're mostly a pitcher's park. The Phillies are a big hitter's park. The Braves kind of fluctuate. So I think it's going to kind of cancel out in a way. So, again, I agree with you, Charlie. I think they do have to lock up Diaz, too. If they don't do that, then it doesn't look as good doing both. But I think for the deferred money, for the overall money he's getting with the signing bonus instead of the base salary, I think it's good.
I think the success with him in the National League makes a lot of sense. Why he went back to the National League and now want to stay in the American League East, because he was one of the best relief pitchers in all of baseball in the National League, and he became one of the worst relief pitchers in baseball in the American League. So I think he just wanted to jump ship. He wanted to get the hell out of the American League.
I wonder this. I don't know this. This is maybe a better question for our baseball experts here. Is it something where if you're a changeup pitcher, like he's a changeup pitcher, the airbender, if he can't place his fastball, the changeup's not going to work. So is it just a matter of him just fixing the mechanics on the fastball enough that he can place it to get the changeup, which is apparently still fine according to those metrics and stuff rates, to get back to it so that he can be effective for the Mets as a setup man for Diaz if they re-sign Diaz?
Yeah, I mean they play off each other, and I think that's any pitcher where if that's your strength, you always like everything goes with that. Like if I couldn't throw my fastball, for me, I would spin a slider because it'd get me back over. And for him, I couldn't throw a changeup if my life depended on it. So I can't tell you how. I tried everything under the sun to try and do it. But for him, it's like he just has to be somewhere in the vicinity, because the metrics on his horizontal and vertical with his changeup and how he's able to over-pronate, because you naturally pronate on a baseball, and he just has to be somewhere near the zone of the fastball. And we've seen it be as high as 97, 98, but we also saw it at 92, 93, which it doesn't really matter because it comes out of the same slot. So you're going to have like that one pitch that gets you there. And for him, his fastball just has to be somewhere in the vicinity for his changeup to work.
Is because not like the same as Trevor Hoffman, who didn't need anything else, right? He just threw changeup after changeup.
Well, I mean, I guess we'll find out if he can get it squared away. Let's move on to our next set of signings, and this one is related because it's a now former Mets hopeful late inning reliever, Ryan Helsley, who gets a 2-year, $28 million deal from the Baltimore Orioles. Jeff Passan reports the Orioles have signed Ryan Helsley to a 2-year, $28 million deal with an opt-out after the first year. Reports say Tigers and Cubs were interested in signing Helsley and converting him to a starter. Helsley's another one of those advanced analytics darlings because of his stuff metrics, particularly his fastball. But again, this time, the Mets fans who saw him be borderline unplayable last year after they acquired him at the deadline.
Borderline might be generous.
Might feel a little differently about Mr. Helsley. Errol?
Yeah, and maybe a lot of guys get traded middle of the year, don't have big impacts on their new club, but he had one of the most negative impacts of a guy being traded at the deadline over those final 2 months of the season. But it's all being attributed to that he was tipping pitches, and it took him a long time to figure it out, but he thinks he has figured it out. And I guess the Orioles believe it, or they wouldn't be putting this money up front. They think he's going to be the pitcher that had great success with the Cardinals.
I think the Mets are getting slapped in the face because they gave up all these prospects and it didn't turn around for them. He didn't do nothing for him. He was horrible. I think his ERA at one point was over 10. He was Devin Williams of the New York Yankees early in the season. Devin Williams got better in the second half. Helsley was traded going into the second half at the trade deadline, and just, I don't know. I honestly think the Mets should have just sent him down to AAA because he was playing like a AAA pitcher. So I don't know what he's going to be with the Orioles. He is jumping to the American League East with power teams like Boston, the Yankees, the Rays. It doesn't bode well for him, and maybe he should talk to Devin Williams because it seems like it's a transition from one to the other. I would say, I would hope that Helsley looks a lot better this year in the American League East. I would say don't bet on it.
Yeah,
so,
as annoying as I could be with the Mets and what it was, I will be objective and say his peak value was still very strong. He's kind of one of those year to year. Like, he's very good in some of his peak years. That 2021 year with the Cardinals, when they had that big comeback to make the playoffs, was kind of his peak year. And then he's had some other good ones after that too. But the reason that you worry about it is because a lot of the struggles, and Charlie, you know this broadcasting, like the Nationals, like a lot of these other bad teams had the biggest innings against him. And that was a big reason why I think that you guys beat us 5 out of 6 times, like in the second half of the season. The Marlins are beating all over them. So the Orioles are now going to have to face a division that's very tough to go along with that. And an American League collectively that, I mean, the AL East is good. The AL West is pretty good too, outside of the Athletics and the Angels, really. Like, you're looking at a case of that's going to be some good competition.
The Orioles are the Browns of baseball. That's who they are.
That's harsh.
They're the Browns of baseball. They have all this talent, and everybody talks so highly of them. Remember the Browns with Baker Mayfield? After they had that talented and had a great year and lose to Kansas City in the playoffs, and they were one expected to possibly win the Super Bowl, as Speedy had them going to the Super Bowl that year. And they completely fell off track, and then they winded up moving Baker Mayfield in a year's time. That is the Orioles. They had all this talent. Everybody expects this talent to develop, and they slowly but surely can't afford them, and they move away from them. This is a perfect comparison. Browns, Orioles.
You might be giving the Browns a little too much credit. They're more like the
Reno
Angels.
Johnny, where are you, buddy?
He was right about that trade, though, because in addition to Helsley, Cedric Mullins was god-awful, too, that he was benched.
And he just got traded to the Rays.
Yep.
Yes, he did. Well, actually signed as a free agent today.
Our free agent, yeah. But sometimes, too, I've talked about this, and you've seen it too, Charlie, where it's like, and I think we all have, is sometimes change of scenery does more for people than they think, just because it might be, and it might just not be the baseball side of it, which a lot of people don't understand. There's so much more to the season than the 9 innings that you see. Like, there's family arrangement. There's, travel. There's so much more that goes into what a baseball season is that a lot of people don't understand, that goes into, obviously people playing hurt and whatever. That's obviously part of the game with the season and the grueling schedule that we have. But there's so many factors that go into it where it's like, man, I just need to get out of here. And we've seen it both good and bad, obviously. And so,
right.
Some of these guys.
I think on the whole, I mean, you could, throw what you think in on this. Players traded in the middle of the year, if you look at all of them over a period of time, there are very few that have a great success with their new club over those final few months. You talked about all the things that happened, family upheaval. Now you got the pressure of team traded for you. They're expecting you to deliver, and maybe you were traded because you weren't having a great year, and now you're expected to figure it all out to help a team that's in contention. That's more pressure than you had at any point during the year. A lot of guys don't do well in that situation, and when a player becomes a free agent, they'd rather see who signs now. We're coming to the winter meetings. Nobody likes waiting around until late January, early February, and spring training starting, and they got to figure all that out and then get to Arizona or Florida right away.
Yeah, it's tough. Like I've done it both ways for agency. I've never ever done it during the year, but obviously been a part of the things that guys getting traded. I've always wondered the perception, the mindset for guys, and I hope I get an opportunity to ask somebody this, is what it's like going from a team that, like you kind of said, where you might suck and you're out of it, but then you're coming to a team that now is in it and they're expecting you to figure something out because they've seen glimpses of it. And then vice versa of like, hey, I was in it, now they can't afford me, I'm going to get too expensive, so they're going to get rid of me. And then it's like you end up like playing for what? Like I would like to know like the mindset and the perspective that you go in. It's like, hey, tell your family to go home because we can start packing our bags for vacation. And now it's like, hey, you might want to hold off on this vacation because now we got a chance to be in the playoff. Like, I wonder what that like perspective, that mindset, because you got to flip it right there because you only get 3 days.
Yeah, it's interesting. A couple of years ago, the Nationals had signed Jesse Winker, and he was coming off a couple really bad years. He was getting booed out of Seattle. He didn't do well in Milwaukee, was getting booed there. The Nationals signed him. If he did well, the team wasn't in contention, they were going to trade him. And he was having a very good year for the Nationals and was ecstatic when he got traded to the Mets. And he was a big impact player, so much so that the Mets re-signed him last year. Unfortunately, the injuries he had, oblique injuries, can take a long time. And then he got hurt again, never recovered from his injuries. That's the other thing. If you're a player who's traded, who's been hurt, even Kyle Schwarber, when he had that monster June for the Nationals in 21, when he hit 16 home runs, he was having an unbelievable year and then blows a hamstring. The Nationals have a terrible July, and they got all these players on expiring contracts, including Schwarber, who was a non-tender off his previous year with the Cubs. When the Nationals signed him, they traded him to the Red Sox. He didn't play for like 6 weeks until that hamstring healed. He did okay with them, but that still helped him get that big deal that now is expired with the Phillies. But, I can count very few that are traded in the middle of the year and have great success and parlay that into another big deal, whether with the club they were traded to. Usually not. Most times you see that player never re-signs with a team that they were traded to, like Helsley.
Charlie, it's funny you mentioned the Jesse Winker thing. 5 years ago, like 2019 or so, like Mets fans hated him because he was taunting them when he was with Cincinnati. I was actually at the game right after that. They lost 1-0. I think he caught the game when he in left field, the game when he catch for it, and they were still booing him at that point. And then 5 years later, they all love him.
He tastes himself.
All right, let's get to the next topic. I'm going to combine these two together because they're both about the Toronto Blue Jays. Let's start with the big news. The Blue Jays, John Heyman reports, have signed Dylan Cease to a 7-year, $210 million deal. It comes out today, actually. $61 million of it is deferred, spread out between 2027 and 2032. He will also receive a $23 million signing bonus that can be deferred. This is despite an only 8-12 record on a good team with a 4.5 ERA, with his usual impressive strikeout total of 215. I don't know. Obviously, the Blue Jays only have Gausman and Bieber on expiring contracts this year, but I don't know if this is where I'm spending my money after what I saw him do on a team that was trying to compete. If they're trying to get over the top, what do you think?
Well, I will say this: Bieber is no longer going to be a part of this team. He pitched so very well in the World Series and throughout the playoffs. I expect Bieber to get at least $20 million. I don't think the Blue Jays are going to pay him because they gave Dylan Cease this kind of money. Now, Dylan Cease is a good pitcher. Is he an elite pitcher? Is he worth $210 million? No. Now, the Blue Jays are reaching, and hopefully Dylan Cease coming to the American League East, a harder division, probably the hardest division in all of baseball, it works out for him. This is very Blue Jays-like, to go after a pitcher because he's available and he looks like he's a shiny dollar or a shiny 100 or a shiny coin, and it's going to turn into gold. I think this is going to be an absolute downfall for the Blue Jays. This is a bad move for them. It doesn't make any sense. But again, it is the Blue Jays, and they did give Vladimir Guerrero Jr. the money they did up front, and it worked out for him. So maybe they hit it out of the ballpark with Dylan Cease. My opinion, it's an absolute downfall for them. This is a bad move by them.
It's interesting. They signed Cody Ponce, who was pitching in the KBO and supposedly turned his career around, and just gave him a 3-year, $30 million deal after what he did in the KBO, and expect him to be in the starting rotation with Gosman, Savage, who was tremendous in the postseason, the young rookie. And I saw today that they're open to trading Jose Barrios. And then, of course, you still have Max Scherzer, who wants to come back there. If not, some of the talk is that he could end up with the Giants because the guy who was his pitching coach at Missouri in the early 2000s is now the manager of the San Francisco Giants. How about that?
That's a full circle.
I played against him in Missouri. He threw like 112. He was the only one to beat me that year. He won pitcher of the year. I won newcomer of the year.
Oh.
I still hold it against him.
And I bet he hasn't forgotten a second of it because
100. That dude is nuts when it comes to like remembering things, and it's just he was a very like playing against him, and you hear all the stories. Then having a chance to play with him in Detroit, and I've been playing against him since I've been in college, so kind of just seeing his demeanor as he's gone through, he was a treat. I can say that.
There is a treat. I was around him for the 6.5 years, almost 7 with the Nationals. Nothing was more fun than the day he pitched. Watching everything he did. There's nobody like him. There just isn't. I mean, he would come in spring training. I was doing a Q&A with a couple of rookie pitchers at the time, and he was standing in the back when the thing was coming to a close, and I had no idea why he was there. He had no function. He was waiting for those two guys to be done. He's like, come on, rookies, we're going to watch video. And not video of him, video of them, because he wanted to help them get better, because the only thing that meant is we were going to win more games. And that's the only thing he cared about.
Did you ever watch his bullpen days?
Oh, it's all the time. Full uniform. He's going out there like, I'm watching the coverage of the World Series this year, and they're showing like nobody had ever seen this before. But every day that he pitches, when he goes out, his warm-up in the outfield where he's just working on his pickoff move and looking over his shoulder, and he's got a routine. You know, they ask, why are you throwing your bullpen in full uniform? He goes, well, I'm trying to simulate what I do in the game. I don't pitch in a T-shirt in the game, so I'm going to throw in my full uniform. And after, stuff starts to rub off. When Dusty Baker was the manager, he'd tell young pitchers who were standing around, go watch what Mac's doing. Go talk to him. Find out what he eats, how long he sleeps. Find out everything that he does. Not that all of it will translate, but that's the way everyone looked at Max.
Yeah, it was funny. I went to a game in 2016 in Washington, and obviously he has two different color eyes. The way they put it in the left center field, I don't know if it was a poster or it was just some kind of pretty. It was really cool the way they did it with the effects. And
hey. Postseason game, Dusty Baker went out there to talk to him. Max didn't want to come out of the game. He goes, I'm trying to trust you. I'm looking at two different eyes. And Max said, the brown eye's the baseball eye.
And then I saw all the road teams were doing it on the Jumbotron for a while too. And they were kind of just duplicating that effect. But you guys did it left center, so it's very cool. Going back to the Cease contract, If it wasn't a deferred money, I probably would be questioning why it was 7 years because of a guy that's been very injury prone in his career. Kind of streaky up and down, good strikeout stuff always throughout his career, but also has been immune to the home run ball for a pitcher of his caliber too. So if it wasn't deferred money, I would question it too. But like Errol was saying, it's another veteran right-handed pitcher that goes to the Blue Jays. They already have Gossman, who's good. Barrios, you're saying, Charlie, maybe they trade him now as a result of this. I'm surprised they did it, though, as a result of how well Savage pitched at the end of the season and then in the playoffs.
It doesn't make any sense. It really doesn't make any sense. But it's very Blue Jays-like. Everything the Blue Jays does makes no sense. But it worked out this year with Vladimir Guerrero because he became a playoff superstar. One of the greatest runs I've ever seen a player have throughout a playoff. So maybe they were right about him, but this is.
Tell you what, if
shake
Kiner Falefa doesn't slide, they're the world champions.
I would agree.
Pretty well.
You know, it wasn't a tag play, but I guess instinct said slide. When he could have just run right through home plate on a force play, he would have beaten the play and they would have won the World Series.
And Yankee fans, please, Brian Cashman, stay away from Kiner Falefa. I do not want
Again, they're gonna have a breakup and then he's gonna go back.
I do not. They're saying that the Yankees are the elite team to get him. What are they nuts?
To make him their starting shortstop again?
It's horrible. It's a horrible move. Brian Cashman, you better not do that.
As a utility player, okay.
Yeah. It makes no sense. It makes no sense.
Let's talk about another one of Brian Cashman's wonderful decisions over the years. And now, years later, Sonny Gray ends up on our rival Boston Red Sox. Yes, the Cardinals traded Sonny Gray to the Red Sox for a Red Sox number 5 overall prospect, right-handed pitcher Brandon Clark, and right-handed pitcher Richard Fitz, and a player to be named later with cash considerations. On his way over to Boston, Gray took shots at his now rival and former team, the Yankees, saying he never wanted to be traded there, and they are an organization that are easy to hate. Yankees fans mostly remember Gray as being an absolute disaster in the Bronx and are excited to go see him play, a place where he apparently had even worse numbers in his career, Fenway Park, than he did at Yankee Stadium. So, in my opinion, probably the best example, Sonny Gray, is a guy who couldn't handle the big media market of New York. Well,
I don't think it's going to be a whole lot different. I don't think that's going to be a whole lot different in Boston. I mean, New York, Boston, and Philadelphia, you got to perform, or it gets tough really fast. I mean, St. Louis, this was the first time I've ever seen the attendance drop like it did, and you go there and there's 17,000 announced, and it looked like there were 5,000 in the ballpark. But if you played there, you never got booed until this year. You started to see that. But you're talking about if you think you're going to Boston and it's going to be a whole lot less than New York, I don't know.
Let me ask
What do
something.
you think, Jabba?
A
lot of pressure to play in Boston.
Go ahead, Jabba. I got something to say to Sonny Gray about that. But go ahead, Jabba.
Yeah, I don't know kind of what he was thinking, to be honest with you, because it's funny how he's going to say this to try to get on the good side of Red Sox fans, because now it's like, okay, you're part of this rivalry, even though, you know, you've only played for the Yankees, so on and so forth, right? But if you go back and read some of what he said in like 2017 and even later, it's, you know, everybody dreams of playing for the Yankees, blah, blah. Now he's talking out of the other side of his mouth, which doesn't do him any good, because now what's going to happen is he can't win for losing no matter what he does, because unless he goes out and wins a Cy Young and they win a World Series, he's going to be a fail, because he didn't live up to the shit talking that he did to the Yankees fans. He's not going to live up to the Boston fans. And if he doesn't beat New York to add on top of it, this dude might as well crawl in a hole and never come out of Nashville where he lives.
He just created the ultimate blackboard material, didn't he?
100%.
Unbelievable.
Let me ask Sonny Gray one question. Johnny Damon played for the Yankees for a very long time, and he also played for the Red Sox. Johnny Damon, for years, took shots at the Red Sox organization that they don't know how to treat players. And then he came to the Yankees and he said the Yankees treat their players like they're golden, like they're 5-star restaurants. Everywhere they go is 5-star. They treat their players with so much respect. And now this guy, because Sonny Gray couldn't get along with the fans, couldn't pitch a lick in New York, He's going to take shots at the fans and take shots at the Yankees organization. You know what I would say to that? Go ask all the former Red Sox that became Yankees how the Yankees treated them, because every single one of them that I've heard through the past, leaving the Red Sox and came to the Yankees, including Wade Boggs, who came to the Yankees in '96 to win a World Series, said the Yankees organization is so classy. It's one of the classiest organizations I've ever been around. And he was a Red Sox his whole career. So, Sonny, stop bitching. All right? That's all I'm going to say. All you do is bitch. And you shouldn't be called Sonny anymore. You should be called Manly, because you don't have a man hair in your pants, because you can't say anything right at any view to a Yankee fan. You're a failure with the Yankees, and you're going to be a failure with the Red Sox.
You know, all he had to do, honestly, like, and the thing that you learn with these bigger markets or any market, if he would have came out and said, yeah, you know what, because they asked him about the Yankee-Red Sox rivalry, right? Could have looked good in so many eyes. Talk about, I'm really looking forward to being part of this rivalry. It's a great thing for, you know, for baseball and sports in general. And you know what? I didn't cut it in New York. I want to go out and be better than I was in New York and Boston. They would have had, he would have been perfect, because he would have killed him with kindness on the New York side, because you know what? He admitted he sucked. Sorry. All right. At least whatever. We can't really bag somebody. It's like when you talk about Charlie Sheen, he said he was doing 8-gram rocks with hookers. You can't talk any worse crap about him, because he just told you what it is. So if he goes and says, hey, I'm terrible. Sorry. Want to be better for this rivalry. Boom. Like, he would have literally he could have gotten away with a couple of hiccups and even lose to the Yankees, and then be like, see, you stink. But Boston been like, okay, he hit a guy or something. Like, there's ways he could have gone about this to look good in both eyes.
He set himself up for failure, right? Before he even goes to throw one pitch.
Randy Johnson won 17 games 2 years in a row, but he dropped a cameraman and nobody cared what he did.
And now he's become one.
As long as she's using dude wipes and taking care of my people.
So, Charlie, I do have to mention this. This is the origin story. So 3 years before we ever first had you on the show, I had my trial show, essentially, at the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. Errol and two other guys, and they were talking about it. Guys, obviously, it was July 21st, so it was right around the MLB trade deadline. And I forget, it was Matty Caps and it was somebody else that really wanted Sonny Gray on the Yankees. And you
know what I said?
Yeah, I remember that. I was very skeptical of it, because he was a softer throwing, like not high velocity and not a high strikeout rate pitcher at that time. I was saying they should have tried to trade for Verlander.
Do you remember the line I used for him?
No, I don't. I wish I did.
Sonny is a dummy. That's what I said during the show. And that was the line I used, and I remember it like it was yesterday. You go back and you remember what I said. I did not want Sonny Gray. I did not think he was going to work out here. He's small. He throws a lot of off-speed pitches, and it wasn't going to work out in Yankee Stadium. And by the way, he gives up a lot of pop-ups.
Yeah, and I was skeptical of the same thing at the time, too. Now, he was a good postseason pitcher, which is something that the Yankees needed for a while, because outside of Tanaka, they really didn't have that second postseason pitcher. And he actually was pretty good with the A's, but I was worried about that when he first got traded over there to the Yankees, and I had a feeling it wasn't going to last over there. And at the time, I was like, okay, it's going to be a small parks issue. He goes to Cincinnati, and he actually pitches well. I'm like, no, maybe it was a market issue. And like you both, Charlie and Jabba, were discussing, so like, how much of those can you be able to handle in a super harsh media market? And now you go to Boston too. Yes, you might have your chip on your shoulder getting to play against the Yankees and other AL teams, but again, Fenway Park is no factor to small ballparks either.
The rah-rah shishtumba.
All right, let's move on. We got another one revolving around the Yankees. This one, I actually saw Mr. Jabba Chamberlain tweeting about this while it was happening in real time. Hal Steinbrenner came out.
I don't care
and
if
said
Jabba fans either.
that it would be pretty good for the Yankees to save some money this year. That, you know, it's not just because the report says that, you know, just like we said with Odell, $100 million goes real quick on Monday. Oh, Hal said that $700 million revenue that the Yankees are getting, you know, there's a lot of costs and overhead that we don't really get it as fans. That there's a lot that has to go into it before. So, you know, like, the Yankees need to find a way to save some money for Hal's benefit. Mike Francesca, as we know, took lots of shots at Hal for this and said that he had the Dodgers make the Yankees look like an A-ball organization. George would have never allowed the Dodgers to do this. I can't believe the Yankees are saying they're not making a profit. I mean, it's not looking the way that we want as Yankees fans right now.
First of all,
See, but this is, when you hear it come out that so many teams in baseball are not turning a profit. I mean, I watched this year, commissioner go around to each team and talk to them about how trying to set the table for the labor negotiations and tell players, this continues, only a few players are going to make big money and the rest of you are going to be stuck around the minimum. I mean, I've heard that speech from in sports for how many decades now. And you look at every sport, even with the salary cap, the money keeps going up and TV revenue keeps getting bigger and bigger. So at the same time that he's saying this to the players, he comes out of these meetings and talks to reporters, and you have all these new TV deals coming in that he's setting up now to run through 28 before they put it all up for auction, including streaming package to involve as many teams as possible. And then say that attendance on average of baseball is better than it's ever been. So if you're a player, you're hearing two different stories coming from, each side of his mouth. Unless, you look back my previous life, I worked in the NBA for 11 years. The NBA had the boom after the salary cap, and they did that to save the league. But the only way it worked with the union is they opened the books and said, we're going to give you 51% of everything that we make, and you're going to be able to see it. The baseball owners who want a salary cap, they're never going to open the books and show you all the money that they're making that's outside of attendance and all these other deals. And who knows what is involved with these betting companies that are doing all this advertising. And if we ever go there, to me, this is the worst thing that's ever happened to sports and athletes, because all I can say is, what did they think was going to happen?
I will say this. I like Mike Francesca. Everybody knows he's a guy that I look up to when it comes to radio. And I love that he attacked Hal Steinbrenner. But the fact here is the Yankees are one of the richest teams in all of professional baseball. And
Yankees and Dallas Cowboys, right?
Yeah,
the Yankees and the Dallas Cowboys.
They sell more. I buy more Yankee hats than anybody does. So I know I put a lot of money in the Yankees' pockets. So if I'm doing it, I know there's other fans doing the same thing. I've got a million different hats in different colors for the New York Yankees. I absolutely believe that Hal Steinbrenner is making excuses. I don't like to defer money. I think baseball needs to step in and do something about it. But nevertheless, I think he's absolutely right. The Yankees should be going out there and spending mucho dinero. Even though they're one of the top 5 teams in baseball, they were the number 1 team in baseball when it comes to salaries, and now they fall into 3rd or 4th. That, to me, is a problem. And when the Yankees are getting outbidded for Juan Soto, even though I didn't want Juan Soto, I put it on paper. I did not want to keep Juan Soto. I just believe that it was embarrassing watching the Mets win a bidding contest for Juan Soto. It was embarrassing. And the Yankees, and he's right, Francesca's right, George Steinbrenner would have never let that happen.
No way. No way he would have let that happen.
Never.
Well, he probably would not have gone through the season without making a change in the dugout either.
Yeah, he would have gotten to a lot more extreme measures. And you're talking about, like, you were mentioning Charlie, too. Like, some of these owners that aren't going to change their ways just based on that, too. Like, George Steinbrenner was still going to commit to his way no matter what if he was still there. Hal Steinbrenner is still going to, I'm not going to say, like, spend, like the Brewers do or anything like that. But, like,
right. But the biggest problem they have in the game when they talk about, oh, we need a salary cap because of competitive balance. Okay, well, all these teams taking revenue sharing, there's nothing that forces them, although there was a penalty involved, like for the Marlins and the Pirates at some point, they had to add more money to payroll to avoid a penalty. But most of the time, we don't know if this revenue sharing that's going to these smaller market teams is going immediately into the major league payroll. And, their way around that is to just add more teams to be allowed to get into the playoffs. And that way, those teams that don't spend go, you know what, if we have a lucky year, we add a few pieces and we're hanging around 500 in July, we're in the wild card hunt here and we have a shot. And then maybe we get in and maybe we get lucky and get deep in the tournament. So but to me, and I love to hear, like, with Jabba being an ex-player with this, the difference salary and how much you spend, even though the Dodgers are back-to-back, is no guarantee that you're going to be healthy enough to get through the postseason and win. What it does do is sell out your ballpark during the regular season. And that's why they have all that money. And the teams that look at San Diego, if you go back 15 years, they didn't have big crowds coming to Petco Park. Now you added superstars to that team, and that's one of the best atmospheres in baseball. It's amazing to go watch a Padres game there. It doesn't matter who they're playing. It's just a tremendous atmosphere, and the ballpark is sold out every night. And that's why they have the money to spend and give these big contracts. But that's what fills the seats. People are not going to go watch a team that doesn't have any star players on a cold night in April or September unless they're in contention and you have a chance to win.
Yeah, I think, and they go hand in hand because they spend the money to have those guys with jersey sales, with all the other stuff, to get people in the seats. But then why the TV deals keep coming is because now it's like, okay, well, if they're not watching here, they're watching it somewhere else, and they're gonna buy whatever package or whatever it is to be able to make sure that they watch their favorite player. They could live all the way across the country and then do that, but then they follow them no matter what. If you switch teams, some don't, whatever. But I think it goes hand in hand. And it was always funny too, because it's like, once the playoffs start, obviously you go into playoff shares, you go into all this. Well, how much money is actually really going into the pocket? I know you travel with both accountants, but I know it's ticket sales, but then it's like, okay, concessions and all the other stuff and what goes with that. And the ticket prices from the stuff that you don't sell, because then where do they go? It's all interesting, but you're 100% right, because what are they doing is putting names in seats, and they can pay this money now because of all these extra things that they did. And you see why other teams aren't making a bunch of money, even though they have a buttload of money, is because they don't have any other team they want to watch. So if you don't want to watch them, then what's it matter? Like, you're not going to get it anyways. It was probably 10 years ago when the Marlins were getting in trouble, and then they signed Jose Reyes and Burley in the same year, and they thought they were going to win. Well, obviously that didn't happen.
Owning a baseball team is being part of a big exclusive club. And I think for some, it's just to be in the club, and that's good enough. And I don't feel like when I watch some franchises that they put themselves in a position to win and to succeed both on and off the field, because a team like the Padres maybe hasn't won a World Series, but now still, in terms of what they do to be competitive every year and put people in the park, they're in the elite. They're in the top 3 or 4 in baseball now.
I want to say something. Not Fish. Jabba, you brought up accountants and where the money is going. That reminds me of somebody that played for the Dodgers. Somebody that had 5 or 6 accountants and didn't know where $20-something million was going. And Jabba was one of very few people that came out and said, well, we don't know what he did. We don't know what he did. We can't blame him for it. I'm going to tell you, Jabba.
Proven guilty.
Yeah, okay. He's guilty. That's all I'm going to say. Baseball.
By who? By whose standards? Who's he guilty? At yours?
Everybody's standard that's been on this show, ex-baseball players, but you. You're the only one that thinks that he knew nothing about this, and he should be absolutely let go and let it flow. You're the only one that's been on this show that has come out and said that he knew nothing about it.
Hey, if you're standing by yourself, even if you're standing, doesn't matter.
Well, maybe we'll find out more about that case next time.
I doubt it.
You won't.
I doubt it.
I was going to be hired as the guy to cover all of it up.
I doubt it. Anyways, Charlie, we love you, man. And we'd love for you to come on whenever you want. If you want to stay on, we have to interview Quentin Jammer. You can stay in the back. We have other segments. You can come and join us after that. But you're more than welcome to. But we are going to have a very special guest, first time on our show. Quentin Jammer is going to be joining us. But we do have my deuce of the day.
The deuce of the day.
You log. Not a log. I don't have a log, but
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, I really don't know what's going on in Clipperville. It really makes no sense. And This story seems to be just absolutely ridiculous. As Chris Paul went on social media 5 minutes ago, well, before the game, or really before shoot around, and said, just found out I'm being sent home. And what's so interesting about this story is Chris Paul wasn't told at any point before the game, or really heading to the basketball, the Clipper, the Staples Center, wherever the hell he was. Lord Frank reached out to him and said something very interesting, and said, like, listen, we're going to let you go. We're going to do whatever we can to give you an opportunity for your next step of your career. So we're going to do whatever we can to help you with your next step. And then Lawrence Frank went out on social media and said this about Chris Paul. He said, Chris is a legendary Clipper who has had a historic career. I want to make one thing very clear. No one is blaming Chris for our underperformance. I accept responsibility for the record we have right now. No one is blaming Chris for our underperformance. I accept, and then he says, there are a lot of reasons why we have struggled. We're grateful for the impact Chris has made on the franchise. And now there's stories coming out that him and Tyronn Lue were not getting along, and maybe one of the reasons why is because Tyronn Lue was his backup point guard over there in Charlotte. I don't know what the story is, but you can see that Tyronn Lue and Chris Paul did not like each other. There was back and forth banter early this season about how this is going to work. He wanted to come back to Clipperville because that was where he loved his time playing basketball. He said that his best time of his basketball career was playing for Lob City and Doc Rivers. We know Lawrence Frank was a part of I think he was one of the assistant coaches over there under Doc Rivers, if I'm not mistaken. And now he's the president of basketball operations over there with the Clippers. I don't get this. I think that it just shows Lawrence Frank doesn't know what he's doing, and that Tyronn Lue seems to have all the power in the world to push out a Hall of Famer, one of the great point guards we've seen in the last 15 years of the NBA. Everybody keeps talking and comparing point guards and why I believe Chris Paul isn't a top 5 point guard of all time. This guy is definitely a top 5 point guard of all time, defensively and offensively. Yes, he's never won a title. Yes, he's never taken a team. Well, he's been to one finals, actually. He did it with Phoenix, but nobody remembers that. But he really, to me, he had many, many chances to be a part of good organizations. One of them, the Lakers, but David Stern decided to step in and make sure that didn't happen. Yeah. He probably wins 3 titles over there with the Lakers if he did get traded over there. He just had bad luck and couldn't stay healthy on his playoff runs. I do believe this guy is one of the more underachieving players we've ever seen in NBA history, but absolutely one of the greatest point guards I've ever seen. And this is a shameful thing the Clippers did to one of their biggest superstars. I think this is wrong. I think Tyronn Lue should be fired because the reason why they're not winning is because of the coaching. He doesn't know what he's doing. His rotation is putrid, terrible, disgusting, and he doesn't have enough talent there. He's got a bunch of washed up players, really, that are bull hogs. That's about it.
All right. So that's our deuce of the day. Errol.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm trying to work with my producer over here. He doesn't realize that I have a big, huge seat over here I'm sitting on, and I can't see it. So he's giving me some information. But when we come back, we have a very special guest for the first time on Job in the Mouth. We will be talking to former Chargers and Broncos cornerback Quentin Jammer. By the way, I remember Quentin Jammer at the top of his game. I remember him so very well with the Chargers. And I always liked him when he was a Chargers, always wanted him to be a Jet. And then I wonder, do I want to push him to a bad organization? I would say no. But he did get a chance to play with Phillip Rivers. So when we come back, we're going to get a chance to interview Quentin Jammer. But first, our Sports Minute with the Fish.
The Jabba in the Mouth Sports Minute.
All right, everybody. Aaron Fishman here with your Sports Minute. Got a couple of stories before we get into the scores this evening. Former Knicks first-round draft pick Danilo Gallinari is calling it a career. After 16 years in the NBA, the former future of the Knicks has announced his retirement from the league at the age of 37. Gallo played for 9 teams in his career, which started with the Knicks when he was taken 6th overall in the 2008 NBA draft. The Knicks sent Gallinari to Denver in the Carmelo Anthony trade in 2011, where he was a big part of a 57-win Nuggets team in 2012-2013, but tore his ACL late in that season. He would tear his ACL twice. Injuries would be a big part of the second half of Gallo's career. He did make it to the conference finals as part of the Hawks and once hit 10 three-pointers off the bench, but he never truly lived up to the hype, at least Knicks fans like myself had, for the second highest drafted Italian player of all time. The Knicks had the top guy too, Andrea Bargnani, at one point, who most Knicks fans will remember for being hot garbage and overpaid. Gallo finishes his career with 1,456 three-pointers, which is 6th most in NBA history for someone 6'10" or taller. Happy trails to Gallo, one of the many guys we thought were the future on Broadway when there was no future for real, until the King of New York, Jalen Brunson, arrived in 2022. And in unsurprising news, if you know anything about Eagles fans, reports into ESPN on Monday state that Eagles offensive coordinator Kevin Petullo had someone egg his New Jersey house Saturday night after the Eagles' second straight loss in the Black Friday game to the Bears, 24-15. The Eagles' offense has been bad this season, and Petullo has been in the crosshairs of the fans for the defending champions, Eagles, who saw their championship-winning offensive coordinator Kellen Moore become the head coach of the Saints this year, despite the struggles. And the Eagles are struggling offensively, being in the bottom third in the league in most offensive metrics. Head coach Nick Sirianni told reporters after the weekend that there would be no change in play caller, despite the noise from the fans and local media calling for Petullo's head. Apparently an 8-4 record, first place in the NFC East, and largely the same roster as a winning title team isn't enough for these cheese whiz on beef loving faithful. But then again, these are the same people whose forefathers threw batteries and balls of ice at Santa Claus. Stay classy, Philadelphia. And the beginning of the second half, the Knicks have a 6-point lead on the Hornets at the Garden, 53-47. At the end of the third, it's 99-85 Blazers over the Cavs. It's 102-75 and a laugher. The Nuggets all over the Pacers almost at the end of the third quarter there. With 10 left in the fourth quarter, it's 91-82 Spurs over the Magic in Orlando. It's 60-41 Clippers over the Hawks with 9:53 left in the third quarter. About 6 minutes left in the first half. The Nets have a 39-28 lead on the Bulls. All tied at 42 between the Rockets and the Kings. Just under 5 left in the first half there. 7 left in the first half. 39-29 Pistons over the Bucks, who keep on losing. Giannis went down with a non-contact calf injury in that one. And the Heat are up 20-13 on the Mavs with 5:45 left in the first. In the NHL, at the end of the second period, the Stars have a 2-0 lead on the Devils. Just beginning of the second in Montreal, it's 1-0 Jets over the Canadiens. With 10:36 left in the second period, the Flyers have a 4-1 lead on the Sabres. Still to come tonight, Ducks and Mammoth, and Sharks and Capitals. Guys, we are streaming live on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube on our Job in the Mouth handle, on Facebook under the Worldwide Sports Radio Network handle, and on Twitter under our host handle at ErrolMarks34. Keep downloading on Apple Podcasts and watch us both there and on Spotify. Now in video. Make sure you like, subscribe to all our shorts, reels, TikToks, and longer videos you see from us throughout the week. Now back to Errol, Jabba, and Speedy for our next guest on Jabba and the Mouth.
Any questions?
What is this? This is the Jabba and the Mouth Show.
Doo-doo. You want my 3 parts? Roba. That's my ass. Roba. Roba. Ass with this.
3-1! 672 3108 is the number to call. You're listening to Jabba and the Mouth. I'm your host, the one and only Errol Marks, my co-host, Jabba Chamberlain and Speedy Petey. Go to our website at www.worldwidesportsradio.com. Check out all our shows throughout the week, including Jabba and the Mouth every single Mondays and Wednesdays at 7:30 p.m. All you have to do to tune in and check out our local listings for all our shows is go to our website at www.worldwidesportsradio.com. Before we get our guest in, ladies and gentlemen, we're brought to you by Omaha Steaks. And they're giving 10% off right now on all orders if you're a Jabba in the Mouth fan. Just click the link at www.omahasteaks.com/jobinthemouth, or go to our website at www.worldwidesportsradio.com and click on the Omaha Steaks logo. If you like your shaky beef, your dark beef, or whatever beef you like, and if you like Omaha Steaks, well, ladies and gentlemen, nobody beats Omaha Steaks but Omaha Steaks. And if you want 10% off for the holidays, you can get it. All you have to do is hit the Jabba and the Mouth link and get your 10% off. Go get your steaks. Go get your steaks. Go get your steaks. And now, ladies and gentlemen, I think he's a little sideways, but he's definitely sideways. But we have him on the show. Sideways. I see you sideways. You're twisted. There you go. I mean, I got you, Quentin. I got you.
Got me? All right.
Ladies and gentlemen, the first time on Jabba in the Mouth. He's hanging out in his car. It seems like a Jabba in the Mouth thing. Ladies and gentlemen, for the first time on our show, former Chargers, former Broncos, cornerback, the one, the only, Quentin Jam. Quentin, what's up, man?
What's up, man? Y'all caught me doing some daddy duties, to be honest with you.
I like the daddy duty. I like the daddy duty thing because you were probably cleaning some duty out of the diaper. I'm just kidding here.
Back in the day.
Back in the day. We're getting a little older, Quentin, obviously. You're a former NFL player, and I actually remember you as a young player on the Chargers. I actually loved you on the Chargers, and I remember I remember you playing with somebody that played for the Jets, actually, Antonio Cromartie, if you remember.
Yeah, that's my little bro.
There you go, and he's got a lot of little bros in that family. I think he's got 14 kids, 50 kids.
Man, don't even go there, man. We don't talk about that.
Are you a godfather to any one of the kids?
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. But Antonio Cromartie was a great Jet. I loved him. I loved his personality. I loved you. I think a lot of people didn't understand, the back end of the Chargers of that time. And Phillip Rivers is one of my front running favorite quarterbacks when I watched the game of football at that time. I always stick up for Phillip Rivers. Speedy will tell you. I think out of all three quarterbacks that came out of that class, Phillip, Roethlisberger, and Eli, I would take Phillip Rivers out of all of them. I just loved his personality. I loved that he was a window thrower, as everybody called him. The guy was, to me, one of the electrifying quarterbacks that I love to watch. What was it like playing with the great Phillip Rivers? Did he freeze?
Yeah, he's frozen.
He froze. I knew it was something because I didn't hear the background. Oh, we'll get him on. Quentin Jammer will be joining us in just 1 second. I wanted to get that Phillip Rivers thing. I wanted to get his Phillip Rivers take because Steve Weich, who has not been on the show since, has a lot of explaining to do because guess who's up for the Hall of Fame this year? Mr. Phillip Rivers. Now, I don't know if he's a first ballot Hall of Famer, but I'm going to predict that next year he's going to go into the Hall of Fame. I think Eli goes in this year. I do. I think Eli goes in this year because he waited a year. I think he goes. I think Phillip Rivers will be in next year. I'd be shocked if Phillip goes in this year. But again, what I seen the NFL do over the years, we've seen crazier things. Maybe Phillip Rivers, they believe, is a first ballot Hall of Famer. His numbers would tell you that he is. He's just not a winner. He's not a champion. And out of the three quarterbacks, Ben and obviously the Giants and Eli Manning, he was underperforming in the playoffs. But I also believe it's just bad luck and coaching and just the positions that the Chargers were in. I think it was only 1 year that really stuck out to me where I thought they were a bona fide Super Bowl contender. And I remember the run when he played with his torn ACL and he played against the Baltimore Ravens. And I don't know if he won that game, but he had a sensational game playing. I don't know if I can remember a player playing with a knowing that he tore his ACL and he was wearing, he was wearing a knee brace. He knew that the only way he could play is standing in the pocket and making throws. He actually still moved outside of the pocket and extended plays. I've never seen a quarterback do that.
Yeah,
ever.
I think the next best team was probably that 2010 team that you guys, the Jets, beat in the playoffs.
I remember that.
Out of nowhere, because that was like one of the most well-rounded teams on paper. I think you were top 10. I think besides run defense, pretty much everything.
We talked
else.
about that.
Yeah, and
offense-wise, they were sensational.
And Nate Kading missed a bunch of field goals and helped out, and the Jets defense stepped up when they needed. So
that's the thing about the Chargers. I think you're one of those guys that love attacking the Chargers organization.
Yes, me and Chad.
What do you call them?
The least clutch team in football.
The least clutch team. I almost said crunch team, but clutch team in football. I've always had a lot of respect for Norv Turner when he was there. I always respected him, and obviously, Norv Turner was not a successful head coach, but one of the great offensive minds we've ever seen in the NFL history. I don't care what anybody says. Norv was a sensational play caller. It just didn't work out as a head coach. And we've seen him when he jumped ship, and he obviously lost his job as the head coach of the Chargers. He moved on, I think, to the Cowboys and some other franchises and was very successful. So
and it seems like they always had the second
team. Too, when you're talking about Phillip Rivers and Eli, two dudes that went to the teams one was supposed to go to get in the Hall of Fame in the same year.
Yeah, and by the way, they were traded for each other.
I know, because that was the whole Eli's not going here deal. I don't remember where it was, but did you ever see the thing between those two, between Phillip Rivers and Eli, and then talking about it, and then at the end of it, you could tell they were both kind of like, eh. And then I don't remember who broke the ice or whatever, and was like, I think it worked out for both of us. And they both kind of just shook their head, and then they went on to the next conversation.
Yeah, and you know what's so funny about Phillip Rivers and Cromartie is I think they were probably two teammates that had the most kids in history. Think about it. Phillip Rivers, I think, has like 12 kids. He adopted 5 of them or something of them, 7 of them. And then you have Antonio.
I feel like Phillip Rivers just had another one.
Yeah. I mean, I got to say, Phillip Rivers and his wife are two of the most respectful people in the industry. I don't care what anybody says about his personality on and off the field. He was exciting to watch. He was aggressive, just like Tom Brady was. But off the field, every single player we've had on this show that played with Phillip Rivers says he was a funny guy. He was a guy that had a lot of personality in the locker room, big time leader. And everybody in the huddle that knows him in the huddle said that Phillip Rivers was one of the more respectable, funny guys you'll ever meet in the huddle and outside of the football field. So it's crazy to hear that. And then you hear all these other guys and other players that played against him says he's an ass, he's disrespectful, he's a jerk. Okay. I think it was just his personality and his enthusiasm of playing the game of football. Now, I don't know what's going on with Quentin Jammer. Hopefully we can get him in. I know he's driving, and unfortunately that happens. I mean, hopefully very, very soon we can get these guys in when they're not driving, because it seems like it's like a job in the mouth thing. We get them in their cars. And but again, Quentin has family duties. I understand. And we all understand that daddy and family comes first. Sports comes second. What did he say? What happened? What happened? I don't know. He is best on. What did he say? I don't know. What happened? I don't know what happened. What?
Yeah, Nathan might have to give us the backstory.
I have no idea what happened. Oh, all right.
Well, we'll move on. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, let's move on.
I think he wasn't super happy about the 14 kids joke.
Oh, he didn't like that? Oh, all right.
I don't know. But
I thought it was
he
funny.
also was sitting in his car, and we could barely see
I thought it was funny. I didn't know that it was crazy. I guess I apologize if I said something wrong. I thought it was funny. But all right.
To be fair, I did Google it. He has had no more kids since that year.
Okay.
That went public. I think he must have got it snipped.
Well, Nathan, you reach out to Quentin and apologize to him. That's not what I was trying to do. I was having a little fun. That's what I do. And I guess he doesn't know the show, and he doesn't know what we like to do on this show. But unfortunately, I'd love to get Quentin on the show in the very near future. And I apologize if I I upsetted him. So my apologies to Quentin Jammer on that. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, save your tears.
Mom, what's one that you can't talk to me about?
My sexual fantasies.
Say you're sorry. It is not ideal, but if it's what me, it is not ideal, but if it is not ideal, but if it is what me. You can't triple stamp a double stamp. You can't triple stamp a double stamp, Lord. You can't triple stamp a double stamp. Lord, you guys, enough.
Now, it's time for Save Your Tears.
All right, guys, welcome to another edition of Save Your Tears. This is the daily, I guess weekly for the NFL fantasy contest where you get $15 to your salary cap. The winner of the contest gets at least 51% long-winded compliments from all of the losers on Monday. We are week 14. I'm going to give you the board, tell you the teams and the matchups. Here we are. Let me give you the squads. We got the Bengals facing off against the Bills. We picked the Colts and the Jags in a game that surprisingly has really interesting playoff impact. And the Bears and the Packers, which everyone knew was going to be a great game. So some real interesting ones to pick from here. I'm going to read it off to you. If you're not watching on video at home, you can. If you go either watching us live on YouTube or any of the places that are streaming on TikTok and Instagram that we talk about on the break. If you are following us the next day, we also are on video on Apple Podcasts and Spotify as well. So here it is, the $5 player at quarterback, Josh Allen, followed by Jordan Love. Number $3, guess who's back? It's Joe Burrow. Shady's back with that hairstyle. I guess he doesn't have it blonde the same way anymore. Trevor Lawrence, $2. And Daniel Jones on 1.5 legs for $1. Jonathan Taylor has 2 real good legs. He's been running well. A couple of tough ones the last couple of weeks. He's still a $5 running back, followed by James Cook for $4, Travis Etienne Jr. at $3, Josh Jacobs for $2, and DeAndre Swift, maybe a very nice value at $1. I couldn't find a way to place in Manangai in our list. Jamar Chase is going to be the $5 wide receiver 1, followed by Alec Pierce, who has really great breakout numbers. We're going to be talking about him at the end of the season for some kind of maybe most improved award, possibly. Khalil Shakir is the $3 player. DJ Moore at $2. And seemingly one of the favorite targets of Trevor Lawrence, Parker Washington, for $1. At the other $5 player, it's kind of tough this week. Rome Odunze's had some tough ones, but technically he has, I looked it up, of all the other players, he has the most yards on that list. So he is the $5 player for wide receiver 2, followed by Michael Pittman Jr., Romeo Doubs, Brian Thomas Jr. on the struggle bus this season, and Dontavian Wicks had 2 touchdowns last week, filling in there at $1. And at tight end, we got the 2 rookies at the top. We got Tyler Warren for $5, followed by Colston Loveland, a returning Brenton Strange, Mike Gesicki, and for $1, Luke Musgrave. All right, so here we are. Let's get into it. Who was the winner last week, guys?
Jarrett.
All right, so Jared, you're going to give us the order for tonight.
Let's start with Speedy.
Okay, so I'm definitely taking Burrow and Chase. That is a given. I'm trying to figure out which combination of running back stuff I want. Let's see. Give me Brian Thomas. I like that dart throw of a value with Sauce probably out for 2. So that gives me 10. I'm going to say... Yeah, I don't have room for Warren at all. Give me Jacobs and Strange.
All right, we're going with Josh Jacobs and Brenton Strange. All right, yeah, so I got you at Burrow, Jacobs, Chase, Brian Thomas Jr., and Brenton Strange. Who's up next, Jared?
Let's go Tommy.
Tommy Hoops.
All right. So I feel like I made a mistake not starting Burrow with fantasy last week, so we're going to draft Burrow here with $3. James Cook's been pretty consistent, so we're going to go Burrow, Cook, Chase. Then leaves me with, I think $3, so I'm going to go Brian Thomas Jr., and then for $1, Luke Musgrave.
That was the other combo I was thinking. I almost did that one, too.
All right, so I stole it from you.
Got
Well, you're-
Tommy for Burrow, Cook, Chase, Brian Thomas Jr., and Luke Musgrave. Who's up next?
All right. I'm gonna go. I'll go Danny Dimes, Josh Jacobs, Jamar Chase, Brian Thomas Jr., and Tyler Warren.
All right. I definitely didn't get all of that. So I got Brian Thomas Jr., I got Tyler Warren, I got Danny Dimes. I think I heard Chase.
Yep, Chase and Jacobs.
And Josh Jacobs. All right, there we go. Who you got going next?
Let's go Jabba.
Jabba.
I'm going to go Burrow. Then I'm going to go Swifty. Then I'm going to go Khalil Shakir. Then I'm going to go Colston Loveland. So I'm at 12, right?
7, 11. You actually have 11 right now.
Oh yeah, then give me Pittman.
All right, so you got Pittman. All right, so I got you at Burrow, Swift, Shakir, Pittman, and Loveland. Listen, I'm not going to ask you this one. I'm going to tell you, I know Errol wants to go last, so I will go next.
Okay.
I am going to dare to be different, dare to be great. I'm going to take the guy who I don't think is going to be happy to just let Joe Burrow walk in there with Josh Allen against one of the worst defenses God has ever put on a football field. I'm going to also go with Brenton Strange, who looked awesome when I saw him the other day. So I think that's a nice value there. I really... Packers run defense, not... I'm going to go with Swift, I think, at running back. I think that's just too good of a value to pass up, although I am worried about the Monangai Vulture status there. How much do I have now? I got 6, 9. I got 6 left for the 2 receiver positions. Do I go with everybody? I think I'm going to go... Yeah, I think this lets me go different. I'm going to go Chase also, but that leaves me a buck for Wicks. Did have 2 touchdowns last week. All right, and that leaves
me,
Mr. Errol.
Actually, we do have Nitin first, actually.
Oh, Nick Mania. What do you got, buddy?
Hold on. I got here. Let's see.
What are you using? AOL?
No, hold on. I got Jordan. I got Josh Allen. I got I got Josh Jacobs. Khalil Shakir. Romeo Dobbs, and then I got Mike Izeski. No, sorry. Colson Loveland.
You don't have enough.
Okay.
Only take a second here.
Brandon saying straight. Those dollars you saved up.
Nathan,
Okay.
it's between Izeiki or Musgrave. So you're gonna get the 2 or 1.
Okay, Musgrave. I'll take Musgrave.
He saves $1 again. Streak continues.
Finds a way to pocket some change. I got Allen, Jacobs, Shakir, Dobbs, and Musgrave for the leashed one. All right. Last but not least, Errol Marks.
All right, let's go. Daniel Jones is playing who this week?
Jacksonville.
I'm going Daniel Jones. James Cook, who is he playing?
Bengals.
I'm going to go James Cook. I'm going to go Jamar Chase. How many do I have?
That is 10 right now that you've used so far.
I'm going to go... 10. All right, I'm going to go Michael Pittman, and then I'm going to go Mike Musgrave. That's where I'll go.
You said Mike Musgrave.
I don't know.
First name of the $2 guy and the last name of the first.
Luke
Right,
Musgrave. I'm sorry. Luke Musgrave.
All right. I don't know if they
I don't see it, and I'm
together.
skimmed on here, but it's fine. It's
use
Luke
Tom Brady
Musgrave.
dog cloning machine. You know.
My pinky is bigger than yours.
As we all know, yes.
All right, guys, that's Save Your Tears. We will, if you tune in on Monday, you will get the results for Week 14 and a compliment chorus where no one's allowed to cry about it. You got to save your tears.
I want to say one thing. So if he's listening, or if anybody is listening on here, that Cromartie joke was not meant to attack anybody or anything. What I do on this show is I have a little bit of fun. Maybe he didn't know that that's what we do on this show. I personally love Antonio Cromartie. I've always respected Antonio Cromartie. If anything was taken on the wrong side of my take there, I apologize to Quentin Jammer if it upset him, and it seemed like it did. So my apologies to him, and if he wants to talk offset on the phone, I have no problems talking to Quentin Jammer and having a conversation on the phone with him. My apologies to Quentin Jammer and Tony Cromartie if I said it in a way where he took it the wrong way. So my apologies to all the fans that wanted to hear Quentin Jammer, because I really wanted to interview Quentin Jammer. I was a big fan of Quentin Jammer, and it's unfortunate that it didn't work out, but maybe in the future we'll get Quentin Jammer on a show. Everybody's asking me what happened to Quentin Jammer, and I mean, I'm telling everybody he was upset about the question I asked him. I honestly didn't think it was disrespectful, but if he did, my apologies to him if that's the way he felt. So again, I'm a man of my personality, and I like to be honest, and my personality is raw. And if somebody takes my raw personality a little bit on the whiffy side, I guess, is that the best word for me? I whiff sometimes on some of the things that I do. It's like wiffle ball. I whiff on the wiffle ball. Well, I guess I whiffed on the question, and maybe it came out wrong in the way he thought I was coming out with it. And if he did, I apologize to Quentin Jammer and the Cromartie family.
So, when's the last time you would have thrown a wiffle ball with all your baseball pitching you've done?
I think he'd be pretty good because he throws hard, and he probably it curves no matter what. I mean, I don't know if it curves to the left or the right, Jabba. I mean,
no, it was it's a little different. Like, we still every once in a while will horse around with wiffle balls, like backyard and stuff. We would hit those like sand balls and wiffle balls. Yeah, I'm gonna let that one go over my head, Errol. I noticed. But yeah, no, wiffle balls were always fun. You get some guys though that like know how to throw wiffle balls. I does not matter how good of a pitcher or whatever you are. Those dudes, like, have you ever watched the wiffle ball leagues? They're incredible. Like, dudes that build fields, and like they stream them on YouTube, and they're fun to watch.
Just curious. It sometimes feel like a different art form altogether.
Oh yeah, it's a whole different art form. It's fun to play, but if you get them loaded bats and put some sand in them, like you can make it interesting.
I played a ton of wiffle ball Java, pretending I was like Andy Pettit and all the guys, like, with, just trying to like get the ball to curve in ways that like look similar, and having so much fun as a kid throwing it up against like the back of like a garbage or something, like, so it looked like
100%.
or something.
Getting electrical tape and wrapping it up so it moved more.
Electrical tape. If you had chalk on something at work, you would do it.
Uh-huh.
I don't know if they even make stuff like that for kids anymore. They're all just on their phones or their devices.
Well, it was big for a while. That was kind of like the new age wiffle balls, called blitzball.
Interesting. I played a lot of stickball because I grew up in Brooklyn. That was just like a thing we did when we played some stoop ball. You ever play stoop ball?
No, I played stickball.
But stoop ball is like you got a tennis ball or like a blue handball, really, and you just go up against the front stoop of everyone's house. And people always used to hang out on their front stoop. So if you can get it over someone's head, it was like a double. If it got over the cars, it was a home run. Something was a triple. And you just played because you just were outside playing with other kids and trying to have fun. And I think sometimes this younger generation doesn't really have that much fun that way. But there are some fun plays that happened in football this week, Errol.
Yes, absolutely.
I got one for you.
Fish's play of the week.
Simply a game about sport. You play to win the game. Hello? You play to win the game.
This is play of the week.
Okay. Welcome back to Fish's play of the week. So this one won the game in an upset win. This is a real consequential play. If the Carolina Panthers end up making it to the playoffs, it's because of what happened here against the Los Angeles Rams. So again, they get over 500 now. This is the play. Bryce Young gets back. They're down 4 on 4th and 2. 6 minutes left in the 4th. And there's the first round pick, rookie Teteroa McMillan. Seemingly a pretty easy touchdown. Why is it so easy? Well, that's why it's the play of the week. Let's take a look at exactly what happened. They're going to show you behind the center view in a second on this clip right here. And it's like if I was trying to play a basketball play as a football coach, this is exactly what I would draw. Errol, if I asked you like to set a screen in basketball and cut to the hoop, you would go, oh, that's a normal play. Well, look at the top of the screen, about 20 yards deep, what's going to happen with these two receivers here. This is literally a pick play, but it's 20 yards downfield, so it's never going to be called. The idea behind this, they're going to send a crosser bringing this linebacker out of the picture because they want to throw it to the right. So bring him over to the left. That's the first thing this play does. By the way, Canales is pretty excellent. So there's the first guy. 48's going to run with 0, taking him out of the play. So now you have the two receivers behind him and not enough defenders to pick. They had a one-high safety look. One of the safeties is going to go one way, and it's going to be double covered. The other way, it's going to be single covered. They decided to single cover Teteroa McMillan. Take a look at how open he gets. He just has to throw it over his head.
Sure.
They get the win. They are back in playoff contention. That's why that play is vicious. Play of the week!
I will say this: McMillan is sensational to watch.
Pretty
he
good.
really is fun to watch, and I didn't think it was going. The game that he played in college was going to transfer as fast over to the NFL.
He's the odds favorite to win Rookie of the Year, right?
He's
Ibuka,
one of them.
probably.
Ibuka has been unbelievable, and he's been with the Tampa Bay
Well,
Buccaneers.
he fell off, like his stats in the last bunch of weeks are down. The odds are really close right now. Hold on, I'll bring it up in a second. But
So, Jabba, there were some other metrics that actually McMillan and Ibuka were both very even on throughout the season. Ibuka just had big plays in the touchdowns for a while, but now since, like Fish was saying, like they kind of have leveled out where that race is going to actually be pretty close. Tyler Warren was the other one that's kind of fallen off in recent weeks too, so he might be a distant third at this point.
So you're going to be surprised, and I think it's kind of ridiculous, but the consensus according that I'm looking at is no, McMillan's number 1. They have him at plus 130, between plus 110 and plus 130, depending where you get your odds. Ibuka is anywhere between plus 230 and plus 290. Behind him is Jaxson Dart. I don't agree with that. I don't think he's played enough. But they have him like at plus 300, and then it's Tyler Warren, Travion Henderson, Judkins, and then Genty at plus 10,000. What a surprise that is.
I think Judkins should be higher than Henderson.
I think they're going to give it to McMillan because he was the top wide receiver in the class. But I think Ibuka's been the best one because I'll tell you why. Mike Evans went down early. They can't get consistency from Godwin. He can't stay on the field. And this guy went from number 3 on the depth charts to number 1. And as a rookie to be pressured like that, to be the number 1 target for Baker Mayfield and be one of the early favorites, the way he has been all season long as Rookie of the Year, says a lot about him. And he wasn't even, I think he was a 4th round pick or something like that. What was Ibuka?
He was a first round pick, a late
was he?
first round
I don't
pick,
even remember him going in the first round.
Very late first
That's
round
crazy.
pick.
I don't remember.
19, I believe.
All right. So I didn't even know he went into the first round. That's crazy. So he's been sensational. He's been fun to watch. McMillan, coming out of the draft, everybody expected this kid to be great. And Bryce Young, you could see he's played differently now that he has a number 1 target. You can see that Canales can run his offense through like he did with Baker Mayfield because he had Mike Evans there and he had Godwin. You could see why I think Canales is one of the best young offensive minds the NFL has, and why I think Carolina is a borderline playoff team. They're not making the playoffs. I don't care what anybody says.
There's still a lot of defensive players away, but their offense is making enough strive. They have a lot of money next year where they're going to be thought of as a rising.
I just don't think Bryce Young's the guy still. I think if they get a competent quarterback that can do everything and be more consistent, I think this team is a playoff team. And they got a running back. They found a running back Thank you to the Cowboys for making that mistake.
And if it wasn't for his revenge game, the Cowboys might be leading the division at this point.
I mean, that's just another Jerry Jones debacle. I mean, think about it. This guy was he was the third running back as the depth chart guy, and this guy's one of the best running backs in the league right now.
And I mentioned it when I used it with my side of the week too.
Typical
he was
Cowboys.
second worst, least efficient running back at the time, and then all of a sudden he plays that went well against the Cowboys, and then all of a sudden he's running wild since then.
He's been unbelievable. And Canales likes to run first, throw second. That's what the Buccaneers like to do. That's what Bowles like to do. And you can see the difference in what he brought to. And I remember the Panthers had a competent coach there, and he only lasted 1 year. This is a guy that was a great offensive coordinator, had one good successful year with Indianapolis, and then fell off the next year. So I guess we all know what happened. Anyways, let's move on as Speedy's six-pack of the week.
Let's have a sixer.
Hey, who wants to drink the beer?
It's time for the Speedy Six-Pack of the week.
So West is coming in later on. So West should be coming out a little bit later on. I had a pick coming in for 9:40, but obviously this is happening. So we'll start with one of the primetime games. So we know West doesn't like those as much. We'll start with tomorrow's Dallas Cowboys game against the Detroit Lions. The Lions are 3-point favorites at home.
Suck my Indo.
Big game for wild card implications in the NFC. I'm going to take Detroit in this spot. Both of them are coming off of long weeks, obviously both playing on Thanksgiving. Dallas' defense, I don't know if they can handle it off. It's good as well as the Lions have done. I'm going to take Detroit here in this spot.
All right, who we got?
I guess Fish goes next, yeah.
So it's, what was the spread?
Lions -3.
Okay. So there was a whole story like Frank Ragnow was going to come out of retirement, and then he had like a grade 3 torn hamstring, and they're like, yeah, you're probably going to be on the shelf for 6 months. You try to come out of retirement. So maybe fix that. We'll talk about it next year. They have a little bit of a trouble. If there's anything that they're struggling with, it's kind of some interior pass protection. Their tackles obviously are fantastic. They're very good, but they've had a little bit of issues, and Goff isn't exactly the guy that's going to be running for first downs all the time. You don't want him to have to do that. So there's a couple of chinks in the armor over there, and Quinnen Williams is a man on a mission. Since that trade, he looks awesome. That defense is rallying. They're better. The safeties, they got Malik Hooker and they got Donovan Wilson back. Both of those guys make a big difference when you have the safeties in the back end, making sure everybody's in the right spots before the play starts and knows what the calls are and the adjustments, as opposed to some guys you got off the street. I think they're going to be a lot tougher to beat. Give me Dallas in this game. I think they're making their run through the playoffs, Errol. Errol, still 15-1 on Dak. We can still make a bet on him.
I'm not making no bets, but I think the NFL is all about favoritism, and for some reason, Drake May has this love fetish for all the fans and all the writers. So I guess he's the bona fide MVP, and I think Mikey C is sitting dancing around.
Of course he is.
Because they have the third easiest schedule in NFL history. So congratulations to him if he wins. And that would be my take on it if he wins the award. Who do I go with here, Stevie?
Java, give us the coin while Errol's figuring it out. We got
Heads, baby.
I was on the Lions.
We got the Lions and the Cowboys, right?
Yep. Thursday Night Football.
And you never know with the Lions right now.
I'm going to say the Lions secondary is horrible. Brown could be out this game. He might be out for the rest of the season. I don't know what's going on with him. I'm going with the Cowgirls. I'm going with Dak Prescott. I'm putting up the numbers, baby. Give me Dak Prescott and the Cowgirls.
All right, we'll go to the Steelers at the Ravens. The Ravens are 6-point favorites at home. I don't like this spread. I think the Steelers will hang tough. This is a divisional game. The Steelers' defense has generally played well against Lamar Jackson, and this secondary cast of supporting cast for the Ravens' offense has not been as good as they were last year. So I think the Ravens will win the game, but I do think Pittsburgh does cover the spread. I think it is close.
I mean, I'm assuming Lamar's hurt, right? Like, he's just not playing right. Something's wrong. I think he's probably overcompensating, and it's making him less accurate. And it's really hard to understand why he's not playing anywhere near the level that we saw last year when, I think, Errol, we both agreed that he should have been the MVP over Josh Allen last season.
100%.
It was very, very close, but I just don't understand it, and he was ranked, he was first team All-Pro when Josh Allen was second, so how is Josh Allen the MVP? Like, what are we even talking about? But certainly not this season. He had the injury earlier in the year, and he's just not playing well. I don't trust that Ravens team at all, even against the darkness one himself, Aaron Rodgers, with one hand.
I don't even know if Josh Allen has better numbers moving. He has a lot more games left, but I think if you look at his season last year and look at his season this year, they're almost identical. So Josh Allen winning an MVP last year the way he did with almost identical numbers for this year, it doesn't make any sense. So I don't understand how they strategically voted on how Josh Allen won the MVP, but I like Josh Allen. I love him. He's one of only very few players from another team that I wear his number with his name on the back. So I actually like Josh Allen. So I'm not going to attack him in any kind of way because I think he's a great player, and I think he's one of the guys that you love not to hate because everybody hates him. So,
Jabba, what's the coin say?
The coin got us. We're going to the booty. We got tails.
All right, Java's on the Steelers here. Errol, did you make a pick for the actual game here? You just mentioned Josh Allen.
Buffalo and Steelers.
No, it's Ravens.
Oh, Ravens. Ravens, Steelers?
Ravens in Baltimore.
Ravens.
All right.
Ravens.
Okay.
And I'll tell you why. Steelers never play well in Baltimore, ever. So I don't care how bad Lamar Jackson has looked this year, and I don't care how bad the defense Lamar Jackson and the Ravens have. Give me the Ravens in this game. I might even say a blowout. So
we'll go to one of the Savior Tiers games, the Colts at the Jaguars in Jacksonville. The Colts on the road are 2.5-point favorites, and it's one of those weird games because again, I don't know.
It's not weird at all. You know where to go.
It's Sauce Gardner is not playing,
yes,
but the Jaguars' offensive line has not been as good in recent weeks, despite their success. A lot of it's come with Trevor Lawrence actually being able to extend plays and get those other receivers involved. That being said, Jacksonville's defense, I don't know if they keep this up forever. Indy's offense will just be this bad forever. It will be close, but I think the Colts finally break their can't win in Jacksonville drought, which has spanned over a decade.
I personally think Jacksonville is the biggest fraud team in the league. I don't believe in this team at all. I think Trevor Lawrence is completely trick or treat, and when you throw something at him like an Indianapolis Colts defense, which has been pretty good this season.
It's a trick or treat. You should have said smell his feet or something.
Well, this is a guy who gets 3 touchdowns and 3 interceptions in the game, right? That's the definition. It's like the Jameis Winston 30-30 season. Is probably the best example of a trick or treat. Sometimes you give it, sometimes you take it away. And I don't trust them at all. I think they're going to score some points, but when it comes
hope
down
not.
I'm not going. I can't take Jacksonville. Give me the Colts. Even if Daniel Jones isn't completely healthy, I'll got the Colts. Jabba, the coin.
We're going tails again.
All right, everyone's on the Colts, it looks like.
Oh, slam dunk Colts. Not even close. And Taylor, he had a bad week last week. Put all your money on Jonathan Taylor this week to put up big numbers.
We got to figure out why Brian Thomas Jr. is playing this way.
I have no idea.
You were so high on him at the beginning of the year, Errol. Like,
everyone
you
was.
Loved him.
I love him
Consensus
still.
first-round pick in fantasy.
I still love him. Still love him.
All right, Savior Tiers game number 2. The Cincinnati Bengals at the Buffalo Bills. The Bills are 5.5-point favorites. 5.5-point favorites at home in this one. I do think with Burrow back, we definitely saw a different level with that Bengals offense. And this is a Ravens defense. Yeah, they've been bad much of the year, but they were actually playing better at the time. And Buffalo's defense, I think, is still trying to find their way in certain areas. So I do think Cincinnati does cover this spread. I think the Bills win this game in a high, close.
Yeah, so I went with the Bills and Savior Tiers. Whatever the over is, it's not going to be high enough. You got to take the over in this game. These are two teams that can't stop anything. It's like Swiss cheese versus itself. It's so bad. They just all, like, as soon as Ed Oliver went down on the Bills defensive line, it just wasn't the same. And when I don't understand how the Bengals have even gotten by without Joe Burrow. I guess Zach Taylor's going to keep his job because it was looking real grim there. But if they can somehow beat the Bills here, which I think would be very crazy, even with Burrow, I just don't think the defense can stop Josh Allen. Josh Allen, this is going to be Josh Allen showing it up against Joe Burrow. This is prime time. It's going to be haymaker after haymaker. I think you're going to see crazy stat lines from the two of them. But give me the Bills. I like the Bills. I like Josh Allen. I think they're a winner. I think they're winners. I think the Bengals are freaking losers, and their defense is going to lose for them.
Damn, losers, huh, Fish? Wow.
I mean, think about what they did with that defense this year.
And I got the head.
That was on the Bills as well, covering the 5.5. I'm going to go. You know what? I'm going to take a chance on this. I'm going to go Bengals. I think the Bengals win this game. The Bills have not impressed me over the last couple of weeks, and I think Joe Burrow is the game changer. So give me Joe Burrow and the Bengals.
All right, and I think this might be the first time ever. The same 3 and Savior tiers also made my 6-pack as well. The Chicago Bears at the Green Bay Packers. The Packers are 6.5-point favorites at home. I did not take the spread for the Ravens against the Steelers. I actually will here. I think Chicago's they've been winning a lot, but they've been winning kind of close. A lot like we've been saying with the Broncos too, kind of struggling against teams they should be playing better against. Like Green Bay, I think got a little bit of a spark. We've seen Jordan Love, what he's done at the end of the season, and Josh Jacobs getting healthy now too. This defense definitely looking better as well with the Packers. I think Green Bay does win this game, and I do think they cover the 6.5.
Yeah, so I don't know about the Bears. I'm not 100% convinced. I love Ben Johnson. I love that he ripped his shirt off after that win. You know, they're the number 1 seed right now. If the season ended today in the NFC, it's pretty crazy. You know, you have a first-year coach on both sides, technically. I mean, Vrabel's obviously coached before, but first-year guys in the 1 seed this late into the season. Only 4 weeks left. 5 weeks left in the season. So, Speedy, give me. So this is the classic
6.5-point
matchup.
spread. Yeah,
6.5. That's a lot of points. I think there's a lot of people wise to the Packers probably going to win this game, but can they cover by a touchdown? And that's interesting. I don't know. I think there's going to be a lot of catch up, but Micah Parsons is having quite a season. You know, you can say what you will. He had 2.5 sacks last week, and he's having sacks at the end of the game to win the game. He's having impactful plays. He's not these who was it? Thibodeau had 5 sacks that first year against nobodies the last couple of games.
Yeah, 3 of them against Washington. I think the other one was against the Raiders or something like that.
A 5th string tackle off the street. You know, it's real impact, and they have him rated this year as the top defensive edge rusher in the NFL on PFF. He's that good. That's what they're saying. Second behind Myles Garrett. So it's like that, because Myles Garrett's having the season from, he's going to break the all-time sack record this year. Yeah. But, if he wasn't in the league, this guy would be Defensive Player of the Year. It's pretty clear he's awesome, and he's taken that defense to another level as they've gotten, used to playing with each other and using him as the weapon that he is. That's the thing. You got to learn your players as a defensive coach, what they're good at, what types of blitzes they're good at. You don't really know what makes them good at the blitzes. Is it timing? Is it he's great at reading the cadence? Is it that he's good at tape study and he knows a guy will turn his shoulders? You never know. So I think that the more that you work with guys, the more you understand each other, and I think you're starting to see Micah Parsons get to that level that we all saw him. Give me Packers. I think I'm gonna take the Packers.
And we got Chill.
All right, Java is on the Bears covering the spread.
I've got the Bears.
Go Bears.
I got the Bears. I think the Bears have proven enough to me that you could argue they're the best team in the NFC. But I'm going to say I would argue the Rams are the best team. They had a bad week last week. But the Rams and the Bears have been proven. And I know what's going on with the Eagles, my Eagles. I have no idea what's going on with them. Mentally, they got to figure it out. They better do it quick. start handing the ball to Saquon Barkley and figure out what they're not doing. Well, offensively, they look absolutely terrible. I'm going to go with Pitt.
All right. Looks like our friend Wes has arrived with his Chiefs jacket, and I think he's had a bit of a turn with LSU after celebrating Brian Kelly.
I mean, we're making picks, right? The game is Green Bay and the Bears, so I don't know that you want me to go down the LSU rabbit hole, but
I figured it'd be fun.
Yeah, I mean, I will, but I'd like to pick that game and just jump into this. 6 points is a lot for a division opponent, and I think that the Bears are finally a respectable opponent for Green Bay, and I think the Bears have as good of a shot at winning the game outright as they've had in years. Their defense is opportunistic. Statistically, they're not a great defense in terms of what they allow, but they somehow take the ball away every game, and their offense shows up. They better figure out a way to stop Micah Parsons, but taking 6.5 points, that's a good play. Take the Bears.
All right. We'll recap some of the other ones we went over before we get to our last one, which is your Kansas City Chiefs. Wes, the first one we had was Dallas at Detroit. Detroit 3-point favorites at home. What do you got for that one?
Yeah, I'm on Dallas there. I think Dallas is way more functional of a franchise than everybody predicted going into the season. I think this coach is better than what shows. I don't know how much flowers Dallas deserves for beating Philadelphia. That's a division opponent. Those are always coin flips to me. I called that outright. I want to point that out last week. I did not need points. But I think Detroit is a little bit broken. I think that Dan Campbell calling plays is not a good thing. And we're finding out what that team actually looks like without Ben Johnson. And we're seeing how good he actually is by him coaching the Bears, who was a bag of donuts last year. So Dallas walking in there getting points. I don't think Detroit can score points with Dallas.
All right. The next one was the Ravens 6-point favorites at home versus the Steelers.
So that's an odd one because I'm going to contradict myself. But this is yeah. What's up, buddy?
Oh.
All right. I'll talk quiet. I actually like the Ravens here. I think that the Steelers are highly dysfunctional. I don't believe that Buffalo is as good as what they just did to the Steelers last week. And I think that Baltimore, with a little bit of rest, I think that they have the ability to make the Steelers look even more foolish. And this might put the pitchfork in the Tomlin era.
All right, so this one was a clean sweep for all of us. We all had the Colts covering -2.5 on the road against the Jags.
No, I think the Colts are the Vikings 2 years ago. I think the Colts are I'm selling all my Colts stock. I see them losing at least 3 to close out the season. And Jacksonville is playing really well on defense right now. Trevor Lawrence is making a little bit of a difference, but no, I like the Jags here for sure. Outright, I don't need points.
All right, the last one we had before we round it out with the Texans and the Chiefs is the Bengals at the Bills. The Bills are 5.5-point favorites at home.
Yeah, I got this one at 6, and this is a personal bet of mine. It's I bet even units all across the board. I don't load up or bet one big, but I really like this one, and I'm taking the points. I'm taking Joe Burrow on the road. I think that Buffalo is coming off of a false sense of security, big victory against a bad Pittsburgh team, and Joe Burrow is one of those quarterbacks where he doesn't play defense, but the whole team plays better when he's on the field. And Cincinnati's going to score points. That team will score points. So we might be looking at a shootout, but Cincinnati's going to score points. And this game is less than 5 points for sure. But I like Cincinnati to win this one on the road. I like dogs this week, and I like dogs outright.
All right, we'll finish it off. We all didn't pick our that, but we'll have you start this one because you're the Chiefs guy. Did they finally break their skid? They're 3.5-point favorites against the Texans on the road. What do you think?
No. I think Houston's going to win this game outright. I think that the Chiefs are completely broken. I think that right now you're reading in the media, Joshua Simmons. He is a rookie that's never made a difference, but the Chiefs are broken. They can't get off the field on defense. And their offense has had flashes, But I don't have. I'm going to be at the game. I'm going to probably drink way more than I should to tolerate it. I heard loud boos last week in the stadium. I've never been a part of Arrowhead where there was so much negativity in the air. I'm a spoiled Chiefs fan because I only had 1 year of Alex Smith before we started winning Super Bowls. But I've never been a part of a real, like, down-to-earth, regular, mainstream football experience where you're not just going to win the game. So, no, I think Houston's going to come into Arrowhead and outright win that game, and I hope I'm wrong.
I got to go back off.
All right, we've had a few weeks where I picked the Chiefs, and actually Wes has gone against them. This is not going to be one of those weeks. I agree with you. I actually think this is a really bad matchup for these tackles. Simmons, who's not 100% healthy. Then you got Juwan Taylor, who Fish that I both mentioned is horrible. And those two edges might be the best edge duo in the league. I think the Chiefs' pass rush really hasn't done well enough to compensate for the Texans' offensive line issues. And the Texans' offensive skill players, those young players are really starting to pick it up now. So I'm going to take Houston here as well.
D'Amico Ryans. Errol, we're talking a little bit earlier in the season before this revamp, comeback by this Texans squad, because they looked like they were down and out. They couldn't get nothing done first half of the season. Look at them now. CJ Stroud, maybe not lighting it up statistically, but he is very confident. He's playing well. They have good receivers. They have Nico Collins. They got this rookie Higgins from Iowa State, who's developed into a really good rookie receiver, kind of under the radar. I like that team. They're a running back away, right? They didn't get Mixon this season. They've been piecing together with this kid from USC, Woody Marks.
I like Barnes. I'm not saying.
Well, look,
I like
what I
him.
mean?
He's 40 Marks. I actually like him. I think he's looked pretty good.
He's been all right. Chubb's hard to tackle with one guy, even if he's not the same player anymore. So they've pieced it together, and that's a testament to a great leader. And I'm pretty sure D'Amico Ryans is one of these rare defensive guys that you just don't care that he's a defensive guy. You're going to trust that he's going to find ways to win games because players are going to play the right way. He's a great player, and he's a great coach. My rule of thumb with the Chiefs, and did we have it? What was it? 3.5?
Yep.
I don't like to take a Chiefs ever favored more than 3 points. I think it always comes down to the referees and a field goal. So if you're telling me this game's gonna be more than a field goal, I'm telling you you're lying. I'm taking the points, and I think Houston's probably got a really good chance to win it outright.
It's kind of swayed a little bit this year. It hasn't been as bad as it's been in previous years.
Yeah, but the backs are up against the wall. They lose this one, they're not making the playoffs. But I don't know. I think it's going to come down to a last-second field goal, just like it always does for these guys. What's the coin say is going to happen?
Well, let's see if it agrees. And it's got tails. Just kidding, it's heads.
All right. Jabba's giving Wes some blind face.
Say that again?
I said Jabba's coin is giving you some blind hope that the Chiefs can pull it out.
I hope they can, and you're right about it always seems to come down to the refs and a field goal. The refs are not on their side this year. I mean, that is very clear. It almost seems like they're out to prove that we do not support the Kansas City Chiefs and we are not on their payroll. I mean, that's how it feels this year.
Taylor,
but now they really need him.
Well, she shunned the league with the alleged turn down of Super Bowl halftime, and I wonder if there's some bad juju in the air for that.
Maybe. Who knows? But I'm going Kansas City. Kansas City. I think it's an outright. I would be surprised if Patrick Mahomes puts up a 400 spot against a great defense, the best defense in the league. I have a feeling Patrick Mahomes has one of these games where you're just like, wow, like where has this been all season long? Give me Kansas City. I think they win outright.
That's what we got.
Yeah, right. I'm not saying the Texans haven't been unbelievable, and Stingley has been incredible. I mean, but besides what Myles Garrett's doing, and Anderson's been really good too. Yep. Will Anderson's really transitioned into a special.
He's so
player.
fast.
Yeah, I'm sorry. What you say?
He's so fast and strong.
Oh, he's so great, man. He's so fun to watch. And everybody was like questioning him coming from Alabama, coming from Nick Saban. He's just fun to watch. His spin move, getting inside, going on the outside. He's just fun to watch. And you could see the development of what he has been over the last 2 years. He's a completely different player, and it has a lot to do with coaching. And yes, I would agree with you, Fish. I did attack the coaching over there with the Texans, and I thought maybe this could be an early exit for the Texans and the coaching staff. But I'm going to take back. I mean, they're playing hard for the coach, and if you're seeing the team play hard for the coach, he's got something. So
there was an early exit for DeMeco Ryans.
The same thing with Aaron Glenn. Everybody says all the Jet fans were pushing him out automatically. And look, they traded 2 of their best players, and they're winning. Okay, that tells you that they're playing hard for their coach. It means they believe in him. And if you believe in your coach, you have something. So DeMeco Ryans obviously has the team, and the team's following his lead, and you can see it by what they're doing over the last couple of weeks. So.
If DeMeco Ryans ever became available, Fish would donate some of his life savings for it.
You've been speaking a lot tonight, cutting in. I'm very impressed. I mean, you've been like in your own little shell, or cocoon, or turtle dove, or whatever the hell you look, turtle shell between your legs, and hopefully you're shaving over there soon. So let's go. Let's move it. We call this Let's Parlay.
It's time for Let's Parlay.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have Wesley, Worldwide Wes, in the feed. We call him Black Hawk West. We can call him the Dirty Western, or we can call him the Bears West, because believe it or not, he grew up in Chicago, and he's really a Bears fan, but he has lived in Kansas City all this time. So he roots on, well, I guess we could say he's a front runner right now, because he's a Kansas City Chiefs fan as well.
Or not in the playoff spots.
I guess I could say I'm a front runner too, because I'm a Jet fan rooting for the Eagles all the time. So
there you go.
I guess I'm a front runner too, Wes. So we got something in common there. The jerseys don't match. Anyways, Wes, you have 4 picks.
I do. Let's start with college. Let's start with Friday night. We're going to start with the American Athletic Championship. I am on North Texas. This one started at 3.5. There's some big money put on Tulane. It's been very public, the departure of the head coach, although he's going to stick around and coach them in this game. With or without that news, I think for those of you that don't watch college football, or maybe you do, you just don't pay attention to the American athletic teams, get to know the name Drew Westmaker. This is a quarterback that's probably going to transfer to a bigger school. Is a 4,000-yard passer. He's leading the ¡1 scoring offense in the entire country. But this is one of those quarterbacks that next year, as we get closer to the season, he's going to make his way onto some of those Heisman big board type lists. He's a freshman this year. I'm not sure if he's a true freshman or a redshirt, so where his draft eligibility. But in any case, this is a 29 touchdown, 4 interception quarterback for North Texas. I don't think Tulane can score points with them, so I'm happy to lay 2.5, which is basically a field goal. Tulane's got the better defense, but I'm on North Texas in this one. And then it gets real interesting because as a fan, I'm going to cheer for Duke. This is not a pick, but I'm going to cheer for Duke because then the ACC's out of it. And then I think we see chaos. Then I think we see the North Carolina Clemson to the SEC talks start to get really real, and Florida State to the Big Ten and all of that. So, but in any case, lay 2.5, University of North Texas winning the American Championship.
Green versus Green Wave.
Was that your number 2 or number 1? That was 1.
No, that's number 1 pick. I was just long-winded with it. This one, I have gone back and forth on this one, and you know what? I'm gonna go right back where I started, and this is what I picked earlier in the season, and I'm calling for the sweep. I am taking Alabama outright, not laying any points. Bama's going to beat Georgia for the second time this year. Bama's got the better quarterback. The defenses are almost the same. But I like Bama's pass defense a little bit better. And I think that when they jump ahead, Georgia's going to have to make some mistakes. I don't believe in Gunnar Stockton. I think that he's the right quarterback for the schedule that they played. Can you say Roll Tide? What does that say right there, buddy?
The segment.
That's right. So I'm taking Bama, and I'm going to take the points, which at this point is 2.5. Hang on, he wants to join us.
What's up, buddy?
Say hi. So yeah, roll Tide. Then we're gonna go. Let's go to the NFL. It was one of the plays on your. Oh, dude, let's not do that. Okay,
He threw an asterisk on himself.
Yeah, that's been his thing. He likes to put tiger stripes on his face. I brought him back a shaker from Clemson, and so he wants to be a tiger. And I can't get him to tell me if he'd like to be a Mizzou Tiger or a Clemson Tiger. So NFL, I'm gonna the Bengals. That's my other pick. I got it at +6. That pick caused me to up my unit by 20% for the entire week because I wanted to have more money on that game. But I won't just do that on one game. It's the entire slate of games that I up everything on. So I like Cincinnati, possibly outright, but I definitely like receiving points in that situation. And let's go back to college. This is sacrilegious, but I'm going to lay the 4.5 on Ohio State. And I'm going to try and not be a fanboy here, but when you watch them, I mean, and a lot was made today on the different media outlets with Ohio State, how they've ran the fewest, they've played 2 less games than most of the rest of the country because of how little plays they're running. They have fresh legs. Ryan Day is putting on a master class at coaching, just how to bring along a quarterback the way that he started with Jules earlier against Texas. He hasn't asked him to win any games. He's saving Jeremiah Smith, getting Innis and Tate receptions at the right time. That defense does not allow points. And every time I watch them, they have no desire to score more than 35 points. They're not shutting it down. They're just accidentally crushing you. They're not playing with their food. They just look like there's more there. And Ryan has been thinking about the playoffs. And as he said post-game against the team up north last week, we're playing for hardware now. And you just watch them. Oregon is another one. I get that same feeling when I watch them. There's another gear there somewhere. I kind of feel that way about Oklahoma as well. But when I watch Ohio State, 4.5 points, if I said you have to lay 4.5 points and you get to take Ohio State, is there a team in the country where you would take the other guy? And so that's really the way I'm looking at it. And you could probably even press that number. If I told you had to lay 6.5 and you get Ohio State, is there anybody? I mean,
maybe Alabama.
Maybe you start to get into Alabama, you start to get into Georgia, you start to get into some of those SEC teams. But I don't really know that there's any other team. So I lay 4.5. It is in Indiana. It is not going to feel. It's not going to feel like a lopsided environment. You're talking about Columbus, which is 2-hour drive. They've been there more than any other team other than Wisconsin. So it's going to be a pretty mixed environment in Indianapolis.
Yeah, you got to imagine there's a lot of Ohio State fans everywhere in the Midwest. Besides Michigan.
Yeah, we're like roaches. We're everywhere.
All right, is that number 4?
That's
that was
4.
the shot right there. That was very impressive, very fluent, and you did it when your son was popping in, pumping out. I mean, you're the purple popper over there, the purple popper. I think the marker was black.
Well, it's you kind of got to have eyes on the back of your head with this kid running around. There's no telling what he'll do.
That's what parents do, Errol. We know where our kids are at. We don't even have to see them.
Okay.
I mean,
it's called being a parent.
You got. First of all, I want to be a dad. All right, I got a girl that is up and down when it comes to having children. So just so you know, that was the curveball right there. That was the curve. I'm gonna piss everybody off tonight if she's watching. So, but it's like that's the trend I have tonight, pissing people off.
It's good for you. You leave a reaction, you know.
Oh boy, do I ever!
Now let's give Wes credit where he deserves it. He gave praise to Oklahoma, as he calls it, and it was level-headed about Ohio State. So,
well, you know, the deal with Oklahoma this year, I like the style that they're playing. I don't. That's the team I'm the most scared of as a Buckeye fan in the playoffs because of the way they played the defense. They went into T-Town and punched him in the mouth, and not a lot of teams can do that. And Brent Venables. It drives me crazy how he's the star player. You know, his name is constantly mentioned throughout the broadcast. But that team looks tough. It doesn't look like the run and gun that they were under Lincoln Riley and Stoops. They actually look like a team that was made to be in the SEC, and that move of getting a defensive-minded coach and putting a team on the field that looks the part of an SEC team. I still get a really gross feeling when I'm in the state of Oklahoma. But that team, they've gotten my respect this year.
Before we let you go, I just want to give a shout out to all the fans. I don't want to say this, but I'm going to say it. The Chiefs are going to make the playoffs. They're going to find a way to make the playoffs this year. It's typical, and I don't want to see it, but I'm telling you, Pittsburgh is not for real. And I don't know if I trust the Chargers either because they can't stay healthy. So, and they're losing every single guy every single week. And it just seems like every single time somebody drops at the end of the season. And I think the Chargers are going to skip out of the playoffs, and somehow Kansas City's going to sneak into the playoffs.
Well, financially, there's a lot politically going on both sides of State Line Road in Kansas and Missouri, and the Royals and the Chiefs and the stadium deal. And there's a lot of opinions out there, but the reality is the Chiefs are going to get a new stadium, and they're going to get this deal done here in the next 6 to 12 months. Their lease ends on the 30th. My tickets are going to get incredibly expensive, and I would like that not to be for a team that doesn't make the playoffs, because I sell a couple of them so that I can play for the rest of the season.
Well, it seems like everything's getting expensive, including the steakhouse that Kelsey and Patrick Mahomes opened up. So stay away from that. Anyways, we love you, Wes. I'll talk to you a little bit, probably tomorrow or one of these days.
Yep.
It's been a crazy week for me.
Yeah,
but
be safe, guys.
Absolutely. Worldwide Wes, a buddy of mine, great personality, knows his sports, one of the best handicappers in the country. All right, when we come back, I've got a funny one for you for In Like Flynn. In Like Finn. In Like Flynn, we got King of the Hill and What's That Smell when we come back. But first, our second sports minute of the night.
This is the Jabba and the Mouth Sports Minute.
All right, guys. Aaron Fishman here with your Sports Minute. Got a couple more stories before we go through the scores this evening. Suspended guard Terry Rozier and his lawyers are running out of excuses, at least in the media, according to an ESPN report. When ESPN first published a story back in October about a large tax lien against Rozier, Rozier and his lawyer Jim Trusty contested this story, saying Rozier only owed $3,000. Well, first he said $9,000, then it became $3,000. Well, the good people at ESPN apparently did not like being called liars and dug up the October 29th court release stating that Rozier's tax lien is a whopping $8.2 million. Despite claiming ignorance, Rozier would have received a multitude of emails, snail mail, and alerts for the case to get this far. According to a tax professional source, the ESPN article sought out to completely bury Rozier in his camp. Well, good work and way to be petty, ESPN. It seems to have worked, and Rozier seems to be even more hot water than the already pending wire fraud and money laundering charges against him. Figures you get a lawyer with a name like Trusty, and it's the last thing you can do with the guy. The fourth member of the Hockey Canada Five, who were acquitted this past summer of sexual assault, have signed with a team to continue their careers that have been put on hold since the trial. On Monday, it was Cal Foote, who signed an AHL contract with the Chicago Wolves, the affiliate for the Carolina Hurricanes. The only member of the group to get an NHL shot is goalie Carter Hart, who signed almost immediately after he became available on October 15th with the Las Vegas Golden Knights to a 2-year deal. Hart made his debut last night with a 4-3 shootout win. He had 27 saves, including 6 in overtime. The 5 suspension stemmed from an incident during the 2018 World Junior Hockey Championships, which led to a young woman years later accusing the group of members of the World Junior Canada team of sexual assault. After the game, Hart told reporters after getting choked up about the moment, "Yeah, it's been a really difficult journey to get back, one I wouldn't have been able to do without my family and friends. I'm just so happy to be playing the game again." The players were found innocent as the case fell apart for the prosecution over the summer in July. Now, with the new lease on life, it should be interesting to see how Hartfoot and the rest of them, a couple who are playing overseas, play out the rest of their careers. In basketball this evening, just went final at the Garden. The Knicks finished up on the Hornets 119-104. Karl Anthony Towns putting up a 35 and 18. Lonzo Ball 34, 8 and 9 in the loss. There's about 8 minutes left in Chicago. The Nets have a 97-83 lead on the Bulls. It's 110-90 in Houston as the Rockets have 4 minutes left to finish off the Sacramento Kings. It's a close one in Milwaukee. 7 minutes left, 95-94 Pistons over the Bucks. 85-71 the Mavericks leading the Heat with 3:33 left in the third. All the games final. The Blazers beat the Cavs at home 122-110. The Nuggets beat the Pacers 135-120. The Spurs outlasted the Magic 114-112 in Orlando, and the Clippers beat the Hawks 115-92. In the NHL, we have a couple games in action right now. The Jets and the Canadiens are tied 2-2 with 9 minutes left in the third period. There's 5:55 left in the third, and the Flyers are about to finish off the Sabres. They're up 5-2. Other games still have not dropped the puck yet. The Ducks and the Mammoth face off at 10, as do the Sharks and the Caps. And the Stars beat the Devils earlier tonight 3-0. Guys, we are streaming live on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube on our Job on the Mouth handle, on Facebook under the Worldwide Sports Radio Network handle, and on Twitter under our host handle at ErrolMarks34. Keep downloading on Apple Podcasts and watch us both there and on Spotify. Now in video. Make sure you like and subscribe all our shorts, reels, TikToks, and longer videos you see from us throughout the week. Now back to Errol, Jabba, and Speedy for our next segment on Jabba and the Mouth.
Any questions?
What is this? We're back. This is the Jabba and the Mouth Show.
You want to get me on? Come on. What the? I am a legend. Woody has no Woody.
Love this track. J. Cole, baby. Love it. You know, whenever I hear this track, it reminds me of Stephen A. Smith. If you listen to his break in this song, I feel like he's talking Stephen A. Smith. Like J. Cole is talking like he's Stephen A. Smith. Very cocky, confident, and sticks it. So every time I hear this track, it reminds me of Stephen A. Smith. I don't know. So, anyways, you're listening to Jabba and the Mouth. I guess I'm the scary mouth tonight. I'm the one and the only Errol Marks, my co-host, Mr. Flamethrower, and he's not throwing any flames tonight. I think I'm doing all the flame throwing tonight. Jabba Chamberlain and Speedy Petey. Remember, you can go to our website at www.worldwidesportsradio.com. Check out all our shows throughout the week, including Jabba in the Mouth, every single Mondays and Wednesdays at 7:30 p.m. All you have to do to tune in and check out our local listings for all our shows is go to our website at www.worldwidesportsradio.com. Thank you to Worldwide Wes. Thank you to Charlie Slows. And thank you to Quentin Jammer for joining us for a little bit. Anyways, we got in like Flynn.
I've often heard that you'd give me a warm welcome if ever we met again.
Like Flynn.
All righty, ladies and gentlemen. You guys are going to like this one. And I was thinking heavily about this before the show, and it just transitions into this. Ladies and gentlemen, my in like Flynn tonight is very specific, very enjoyable. And you guys are in for a tailspin. You like that? Or that was like a Disney thing right there, Speedy. You like that? I think it was.
Yes.
It was a great, a great Flynn. All right, ladies and gentlemen, tonight's in like Flynn is the greatest San Diego Chargers of all time. And I am not going to change it because this is what I was doing before the show, and I was trying to hunt on how I'm going to attack this, and I'm going to attack it tonight. Why not? Ladies and gentlemen, at number 10, now I check out a lot of different, statistics and rankings, the way some of these guys are ranking these players. And I thought ranker.com gives you the best list as far as I'm concerned, because they add all the players. I disagree on a lot of them, but I have their rankings. All right. So at number 10, they got Fred Dean, 73-year-old Fred Dean. Played a significant amount of time. He was a great player for the Chargers. There's no question that he was. I wasn't alive to see him. I would not put him in my top 10. I would not. I don't remember Fred Dean as far as I'm concerned. I've heard about him, but I wouldn't put him on my top 10 if I haven't seen him specifically on my list. I'm going to go at number 10, who they ranked at number hold on. I got him all right over here. At number 16, I think he's much higher than this. I'm going to go with Vincent Jackson. Vincent Jackson was one of the more underrated wide receivers, 42-year-old. Quentin played with him. He's sensational, great size, great ability, leaping ability. This guy had some sensational seasons with Phillip Rivers. When everybody talks about the weapons that they had, LaDainian Tomlinson, they had one of the best tight ends in the world and of all time. People forget about Vincent Jackson and how long and how athletic he was. I would put Vincent Jackson at number 10. At number 9, they have Melvin Ingram, who's still in the league, hopping around in different places. I would not put Melvin Ingram in my top 10. I don't know why they have him in my top 10. That's ridiculous. He's not as good as they made him out to be. Guy could never stay healthy when he was over there with the Chargers. He's still 36 years old and still playing in the NFL. But I'm going to go with Eric Weddle. Eric Weddle, to me, is a borderline Hall of Famer, one of the great safeties in the league. I love the way he played, hard-nosed, reminded me a lot of us of different safeties in the past and comparable to a couple of safeties that are in the league right now. Fun to watch. He always was a ball hawk, and he knew how to blitz in any kind of defense that he ran. So I'm going Eric Weddle at number 9. At number 8, they have the great Antonio Cromartie. I think he's higher than that. So at number 5, and I'm gonna say this because I'm not gonna. I gotta put him in. I'm gonna move Antonio Cromartie up a little bit. I'm gonna add this guy because I'm looking at it. I'm gonna go with John Carney. John Carney, one of the best kickers, one of the greatest kickers of all time. Should be in the Hall of Fame. I don't know if he is yet, but he, to me, is one of the greatest kickers of all time. I think he had the longest kick in NFL history. At one point, I think it was 62 yards, and it was broken recently, I think, by Tucker, and then somebody else broke it from, I think, the Cowboys kicker broke it.
Auburn, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm going to go with the kicker. I'm going to put him there, and that's my kicker. I'm going to put John Carney. At number 7, I am going to put, well, they had Sean Merriman. Love Sean Merriman. He's been on the show. I would not put Sean Merriman in my top 10. I think he was very overrated. That's just my opinion. I thought he was overrated. He had 2 great seasons. And I know Sean wouldn't want to hear this. It seems like I like to piss off Charger players, but I would not put him there. I would move him out. I think Sean Merriman's number 11. I think he's on outside looking in. There's too many great players. At number 7, I would put Antonio Cromartie. I think Antonio Cromartie is one of the greatest safeties, greatest corners, DBs they've ever had. I remember when he was drafted, had a sensational career over there, and then he went to the Jets. It was sensational. I think he was very underrated over there with that defense when it was at the top of its game. He was one of the best corners in the league for a very long time. So I put Antonio Cromartie at number 7. At number 6, they have Phillip Rivers. I think they're crazy. I think Phillip Rivers should be higher than that. I would say at number 6, I'm going to put a tight end. He is a Hall of Famer, and we know his son. Kellen Winslow was a great, great player. There's no question he was a great player, but in the top 5, I wouldn't put him there. There's just so many other great players, and I just wouldn't put him there. So I put Kellen Winslow at number 6. Sensational player, Hall of Famer, one of the greatest tight ends of all time, but I wouldn't put him in my top 5. At number 5, They have Kellen Winslow. I'm going to have Lance Allsworth. Now, he was a wide receiver. He's one of the greatest underrated wide receivers of all time. If you look at his numbers, they're comparable to some of the elite wide receivers of all time. He was a special player, and he was one of the elite guys in that with those San Diego Charger teams, the elite San Diego Charger teams. So I'm going to go Lance Allsworth at number 5. At number 4, I'm going to go, well, they have Lance Allsworth. I have Antonio Gates, one of the greatest tight ends. I think you could put him in the top 3 of all time. You can argue that. He was just fun to watch. Big, long, played basketball, fun player, very exciting and extreme when it comes to the media work. When he spoke to the media, always had a smile on his face. Love to watch him play. I would have him at number 4. At number 2, I'm going to put Junior Seau. Junior Seau, I know a lot of people put him in my top 2, their top 2, and they have him in the top 2. I love Junior Seau. I loved him. He was great. Everywhere he went, you could argue top 5 greatest linebackers to ever play the game. Some people put him in the top 3. Hall of Famer, special. Sad what happened to Junior Seau, and my heart goes out to him and his family. Everything that he did it right on the football field. Great team leader, great player, knew how to blitz, knew how to get to the quarterback, very good in coverage, probably the best coverage linebacker to ever play the game. I put Junior Seau at number 3. At number 2, I'm going to have to put Phillip Rivers. Phillip Rivers was fun to watch. I said it, and I've always loved the guy. Window thrower, one of the more accurate quarterbacks of the league when he was at the top of his game. Everything he did with his personality, his flair, you like him, you hate him, everybody. He was one of the most hated players in the league, but one of the most loved players on his team. Everything about him screams to me of superstardom. The guy's a Hall of Fame. I don't know if he's first ballot, but he is on the ballot this year. He will get into the Hall of Fame, and Steve Weich will be owing me a nice steak dinner. So I'm going Phillip Rivers at number 2. And at number 1, he played for the Jets, and he played for this team. He was traded for one of the greatest speed demon quarterbacks of all time. You know what I'm talking about, Speedy. Michael Vick was traded for LaDainian Tomlinson. If people forget, LaDainian Tomlinson is one of the greatest running backs to ever play the game. His workouts were strategic and uncomparable. The things that this guy did off the field are insane. I've never seen a guy work out like this guy. His training methods were sick. And on the football field, some people would say it was Barry Sanders-esque. Him and Saquon are the closest to Barry Sanders. The guy spinned, his agility, his athletic ability. He wasn't big, but he was so strong. His leg strength was just ridiculous. I mean, if you watch his workouts, they were ridiculous. I mean, this guy was the greatest running back of this era. I think you could argue that he was. I'm going LaDainian Tomlinson as the number 1 greatest Charger of all time. There is quarterbacks, and there is a quarterback that should have been on this list, but I didn't put him there because there's just so many great players. The Chargers had that. And I didn't even put a lot of defensive players. They were all really offensive players. But Antonio Cromartie is definitely on my list. I loved Antonio Cromartie. I really did. So I put him higher than a lot of guys because I just loved the way he played. And when he was a Jet, him and Darrelle Revis were arguably my favorite players. So I wasn't a Brilliant Edwards fan, that's for sure. And I wasn't a Bart Scott fan either. But I loved Antonio Cromartie, and I think they were the best duo the Jets have ever had. And as far as secondaries in the league for like 3 years, they had the best. I don't think you can argue. Revis Island and Crow, I mean, when they played at the top level, I don't think anybody wanted to throw on either side. So one was mean and played mean, and I'm talking about Darrelle Revis, and the other guy was athletically gifted, long, and had the agility to do a lot of things and intercept the ball, which, by the way, I think at one season he had like 13 interceptions or some ridiculous number with the Chargers. I don't know exactly the number he was in.
I think he had 3 in the one game that Peyton Manning threw 6 interceptions.
Yep. And I remember that. He had an unbelievable season. He was up. He was a first first team all defensive player. And Crow, I think it was early in his career when he did it too. He was fun to watch, and I loved Crow. So nobody, including yours truly, would ever take a and I think he was the only defensive player I picked in I think he was the only defensive player I picked.
Yeah, because the pass rushers at the beginning, and Fred Dean, who was a 100-sack-plus guy.
He wasn't in my top 10.
He wasn't in your top 10. And then Melvin Ingram, I'm surprised was at number 9.
Eric Weddle.
Ridiculous.
Eric Weddle.
Weddle should have been much higher. 11 was Nick Hardwick on your list. He was a good center. I would have taken him over Ingram, too. And then Carney, who's also been on our show last year as well.
Carney is definitely
one of the greatest kickers ever.
One of the greatest kickers of all time. I mean, he's got to be in my top 10. But they had a lot of other good players that we didn't. Sean Merriman, he was there. I'm not a big Melvin Ingram fan.
No, he's way too high on this list.
Louis Kelcher was also on this list. Sid Gilman, Jamal Williams, Austin Eckler, Ron Mix. They were great players.
Williams was a good nose tackle, too. Kind of played right with Merriman on those teams.
And I loved Vincent Jackson. Loved the way he played. May rest in peace, by the way. I loved Vincent Jackson, everything about him. So it's a shame that he's gone so early in his career and his life. So I loved watching him play. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we got King of the Hill.
Here's the King of the Hill.
This, Bobby, is belt line. You never, ever hit below that.
Not that kind of King of the Hill, you dumb. Ready? This is King of the Hill.
All right, guys. Welcome to King of the Hill. Oh, this game is a good one. We don't do it all that often anymore, but if you haven't seen it in the past, we used to. We have 3 rounds. We got some trivia, and we're going to compete for a chance to take on the king. The king is Errol Marks. The winner has a chance to dethrone the king, but first they got to go through the peasant fight. Well, they'll take on each other with a question, and then Errol will decide who will take on finals against each other in the joust with a chance to make it to the last round to take on the king, who will vote democratically to try to overthrow his tyrannical monarchy. Are you guys ready to play King of the Hill?
Let's do it.
All right, here we go. Let's get the camera set. Let's get the king up top. I'll get in the jester's chair. And guys, we have it set up right here. I'm going to show you the category. We'll go in this order from left to right. Jabba, Speedy, Jarrett, and then Tommy will go twice. And we'll snake back around the other way. Here it is. They put it back up with the first round. Round 1, peasant fight. I want you guys to tell us who you think are the best defensive players of the 2025 season. So I want you to go through it. You can get some PFF rankings up there. Now, Errol, not your favorite. Maybe you want to get some more traditionalist rankings. You know,
he said PFF isn't his favorite, but he used it in the opener today at PFF.
Well, I mean,
that's because I had
someone may write those openers. It was a good point to make. The Giants gave up on a guy who is 18th overall at defensive tackle, and Vrabel's like, yeah, we'll take him. Thanks, you suck. So you guys are gonna tell me who you think are those guys. So let's get into that, our camera setup, and we'll start our game right now. Start with Jabba Chamberlain.
I mean, obviously everybody's gonna go Mal Garrett, but I like watching Will Anderson. Just his speed. There was a play a couple weeks ago. Just his relentlessness of never giving up on a play, and how he's able to just come off the edge and even drop into coverage, and just to see like how effective he is and like how he's evolved his game into what it is. I just like seeing dudes like that, and I wouldn't want to meet him in a dark alley, so he gets another point for that as well.
Complete player by year 3. Pretty awesome.
He probably a 6-tool player, if you know what I mean.
I don't want to know what you mean, but I guess
That's for a different end of show segment.
I asked you if it hints left to right. Now you're giving me about tools and what kind of tool. I'm trying to estimate what it looks like.
It's
By the way,
analytics. You told me we can't do that segment.
If we ever do bring that back, we're doing Nathan versus Java.
Well, we'll see about it. But right now, It's time for Speedy's answer.
All right, I'll go with his teammate, the one that Errol, you kind of mentioned before, has been the best corner in football so far this season. That's Derek Stingley. Even against bigger-bodied receivers, who's been his weakness in his career, he's still been locked down. There were stretches in the year where he had an under 50 QBR allowed when he was targeted in coverage too. Granted, we mentioned the AFC South soft schedule to an extent, understandable, but the rest of the schedule is still pretty easy. And when the offense wasn't doing anything, like the defense really had held their own. It's a huge reason why.
All right, Jared.
So has no one gone Myles Garrett yet?
No one has. And I love that.
I'll take Myles Garrett.
Every episode, Jared, your face freezes on you making like a tough face.
He looks like he's in like another world. He's like looking. He's like one of those Joe Dirt. Remember, like
we said it before. They freeze on the best ones.
You can stay in. You look pretty tough right now, so you may as well stay in.
Good. I mean, I'll take Myles Garrett. 19 sacks right now. Probably will break the record this year. I mean, he's going to win Defensive Player of the Year. He probably should be getting more consideration for MVP, to be honest. Like, if it wasn't just a quarterback award, now he probably would be the MVP.
Well, if their team wasn't god-awful. But
well, that too. But they would be even worse.
It's a pretty good point. He is unstoppable. Tommy! Purdue!
Right. I'm going to actually go TJ Watt. Of course, Watt has had, I would say, more explosive other seasons, but the thing with TJ Watt is you get this explosiveness that you don't get out of Myles Garrett. The way he just rushes an edge is just like unnatural. It's absolutely unnatural. It's absolutely amazing to see him watch this year. There's certain times in a game you could see, of course, double pressure on the edge to try to double team TJ Watt. I'm going to say TJ Garrett. Almost makes both their names together. Or it just ends up being a Steelers linebacker that, or a Steelers player that getting the blitz for them. I'm going to go with TJ Watt. And the other player I'm going to go with is J.C. Horn. I'm going to go with J.C. Horn as one of the best coverage cornerbacks, probably the best coverage cornerback in the league right now. He's one of the best corners, like I said, and the fact that, the Panthers are staying in these close games, the fact that the Panthers are still staying in the playoff race this late in the season is definitely because on the backhand of J.C. Horn as one of the main components of why they're still hanging around. So I'm going to go with J.C. Horn.
I remember when that kid was drafted, when healthy. I remember his father. His father was great. And this guy, when he was drafted, healthy, if he stays healthy, this guy's one of the best corners in the league.
Jared.
I'm going to go a player near and dear to my heart as a Baylor fan. This guy deserves a statue at Baylor. Jalen Petrie for the Texans. He's been one of the best safeties in the league this year. One of the best opponent quarterback ratings in the league right now. It's like holding quarterbacks to 7 yards an attempt. No touchdowns on the year given up by him. One of the best safeties in the league. Absolutely deserving of some praise.
They asked Derrick Henry who's the person that can tackle him the best the other day, and they said Jalen Petrie.
Damn, Jalen Petrie's the man.
That's an honor if you can tackle Derrick Henry with some oomph.
Didn't they make the rule? Didn't they make the rule because Derrick Henry, when dude pulled out his dreads, because that was the only way he could get him down?
No, that was Torrey Smith a while back was the first one, and then
that's right.
After that,
there were a couple of guys that got pulled down by their dreads over the years.
Boy,
just
yeah.
like that.
That rule really
Speedy.
prophesied with Smith.
Well, there was Palomalu who had a $4 million insurance policy.
If he played off,
By the way, he did not age well. I just saw him at
Palomalu.
Palomalu did not age well. I didn't say I didn't love.
No, I'm not saying that either.
He didn't age very good. Go look at what he looks like.
He should have got the extra conditioner part of the head and shoulders.
Head and shoulders.
All right, I think we're back to at this point for Jabba for 2.
No, I'm out.
No, I was about to say I didn't do it.
Speedy, give your answer. Give your answer.
Yeah. Oh, well, we're keeping the same theme here. A lot of Texans here. I'll go with the other edge rusher too. That's had a very good year. It's Danielle Hunter, a guy that's quietly on track to a Hall of Fame career right now. He's at over 100 sacks right now. When he was smaller player at the beginning of his career, really bulked up, and he's been very consistent and helping out alongside Will Anderson as well on that other edges too, moving teams with the Vikings. A whole new defense he had to learn through the last couple of years, and he's been phenomenal again this year.
All right, Jabba.
I'm going to go Aiden Hutchinson, and I'm going to go Aiden because coming off his injury, obviously he's better than what he's shown, but to come through that and still have 8.5 sacks and still didn't look like he's lost a step. And, hats off to him for coming back and still being the player that he is. And then I'm going to go with probably not a very popular choice, but Micah Parsons. I mean, still obviously not having a great year, but not a terrible year. He's got 12.5 sacks and, 38 tackles. So he's still doing his. I don't know if a lot of people like the trade, but yeah, I'm going those two.
All right, Speedy.
All right, I'll go first one with an inside linebacker here, a guy that's played very well amidst all the rest of the teams. The rest of the team getting hurt pretty much too. Jabba, you mentioned one of his team already with Hutchinson. I'm going to say Jack Campbell, a guy that's been really good in coverage as well, and one of the best run-stopping tacklers in the league. This is a team that's really banged up on offense, playing against a lot of really good running games in that division with the Bears and the Packers, and he's been having a phenomenal year. I questioned when they drafted him at the time. I thought it was a reach, but he's been a very good player, and this is his best season of his career.
Jared.
I'm going to go with I think he'll be the defensive rookie of the year this year. Carson Schwezinger for the Browns. But a very good linebacker. I think he's like 6th or 7th in the league in tackles. He's also got 2 interceptions. I mean, it's not just Myles Garrett why the Browns have a good defense. Everyone else hasn't contributed, but I think Schwezinger has contributed in a big way for that team.
All right, and to finish off the first round, Tommy Poops.
I don't know why my mic was muted, but I'm going to go Kevin Byard from the Chicago Bears. Byard, honestly, has been one of the better, I would say, coverage safeties. He's had pretty good tackling years the last couple of years. Had a good season with the Eagles on the back half of that season as well. He's been absolutely a phenomenal safety for the Bears the past 2 years, and I'm pretty sure he definitely leads the league in interceptions this year. So give me Kevin Byard, safety from the Bears.
All right, Errol, who are the 2 people moving on to the joust?
All right, I'm going to go Garrett. I like his picks and what he was preaching, and he did get Myles Garrett, so I have to have him on. The guys have it, and to me, just a game-changing game. I'm going Jarrett, and I'm going to go with Jabba.
All right, Jared and Jabba, other guys pop on out, and let's get it back on up. Round 2, the joust, and let's see the question for our finalists. Best under 500 team in the league right now. So basically, I'm asking you to tell me who are the best bad teams in the league. Bring up the standings. They have to be under 500. Can't be 500. Need to be under 500.
Under,
so
not at 500?
No, below 500. That's why we can do this in the first round. I think it's something that a lot of people say, oh, they're bad, but they're a good bad team. I want to hear who are the best. Yeah. Or unlucky. Maybe Pythagoras and his theorem doesn't smile on him this year. All right? But you need to tell us right now. Errol, who's going first?
I'll go Jabba the Jet.
All right, Jabba.
I'm going to go New York Jets. No, I'm not being super sarcastic, but everybody went from they've got good talent. Shut up, Scoops. But didn't expect them to win 3 games. But why I say they are is because I kind of look towards what they're going to do. They're believing in a coach because you didn't expect them to win 3 games at this point. You had them winning 2, maybe 3 at the beginning of the year. And they're probably going to end up with the rest of their schedule, probably winning 4, maybe 5. And so I look at it as a team that you expect actually dog shit from, to actually go out and win games and believe in a coach and show a little bit of fight when they haven't shown it before. So, I mean, yeah, you probably thought I was going to be like sarcastic, but I would like, no, they're not as bad. I mean, they're bad, but not as bad as people thought they were going to be.
All right. Jared.
I love bad quarterback play, so I'm going to go with the Cleveland Browns. They have one of the best defenses in the league, so they can hang in any game, which means what their quarterback does matters, and it's going to be wildly entertaining watching them just throw the ball all over the field willy-nilly and doing stupid stuff. That's fun to watch from a bad team. I was a big Will Levis guy. That was must-watch TV every week is what he was going to pull out there. Shador is now must-watch TV of what dumbasseries he's going to try out there. Because it's going to be in a big situation because their defense will keep them in the game. Second pick, I'm going to go with the Cincinnati Bengals. I don't think they're really bad. Like, they are a bad team, but a lot of that's because they've missed Joe Burrow all season long. They play no defense, which makes games fun. And then they can still score. I mean, it was fun watching Joe Flacco at year 27 or whatever it is, just, sling the pill around. Burrow's going to do that now. They're fun games to watch with the Bengals.
All right, Jabba.
I'm probably gonna go Commanders. It's just it's tough. It's tough sledding around these waters right here. When you get to this point, because if there was 500 teams, like you'd have a little bit of a shot. But yeah, for me that they've shown glimpses of kind of what a really decent team that they could be with the talent that they have. I think with offensively, I think they could be better. I don't know if they're going to be as good as they are defensively. They're kind of one of those flip of coins, and I just think they're not miserable to watch, and that's kind of what I was trying to base it off of. Other than the Jets, that was about it.
All right, and give us your last one, Java.
The last one, and we only got like one more in there?
There's 3.
There's plenty more.
God, and they all suck donkey balls.
Oh, that's
But which one is the best at doing that?
I'm going to say the Raiders because they have one of the nicest stadiums. So even if they suck, it's nice to go there, and you're in Vegas, so you get hammered and bet. So yeah, that's my reason.
All right, finish off the round, Jared.
I'll say the Dolphins. Dolphins are a weird team. They looked horrendous to start the year. They're also kind of fun. Interceptions are fun, so Tua was fun to watch. But they've out of nowhere seemed like a good team now. They're up to 5-7. They won 4 of their last 5. They have a legit shot of making the playoffs out of nowhere, and McDaniel might save his job. Also, series are fun. Dolphins have a fun. That's a good nickname. I mean, they look good out there. Decent games to watch. They don't defend much either, so that's fun.
All right, there it is. Errol, who's moving on to take on the king?
All right, so it's very, very close, like extremely close. But the Jets beat the Browns, and that's the way I look at it. So I think that's a little bit more impressive than the Browns beating the Jets, because they haven't beaten the Jets. The Jets won 27-20. I'm going to go with Java. I like Miami. That was the turning point. I like Miami. I like all his picks, and I thought Miami really edged it closer. But the Browns, I don't think the Browns are. I think they're dog shit. They have no offensive weapons whatsoever. Yeah, Jerry Judy's been on my fantasy team. He stinks.
I told you, Errol.
They started 3 quarterbacks. 3 quarterbacks this year, and they're all dog shit. All right? So, honestly, I'm going to go with Java. Yeah, not because it's the Jets. The Browns are bad. So, they shouldn't even have 3 wins.
I get why he picked it, though, because it is, like, that's fun to watch a shit show.
They're a fun, bad team. Like, they suck.
And their jerseys are brown. Shit brown.
Their jerseys are the worst in the league. They are the worst.
All right, let's get everybody back in for the last round to be the voting panel for our democratic process, where Jabba is going to take on King Errol Marks. Here's the question for round 3. When you get to take on the king. Here it is. So, we've been talking about it all night. There's only one way to wrap up the night. Who is the MVP of the 2025 NFL season? We got 5 weeks left, including this upcoming weekend left in the season. It's time to decide who it is. This is when people, this is the right time to make your prediction. Right? We got a couple of front runners we got a couple of guys in the second level that are probably just a couple of good games away from being at that top level. Let's see. Who's going to be King of the Hill? Errol, would you like to go first or second?
I would like to go first. And I think everybody knows where I'm going. And I'm going the one and only Matthew Stafford. I think he is the MVP of the league. His schedule is in a division that's so competitive. He's playing in Seattle. The NFC is by far better than the AFC. I don't think it's a question or an argument. Your schedules, I mean, let's look at it. Their schedule is one of the hardest in the league. And the Patriots and Drake May are one of the easiest schedules in NFL history. Okay, and he is up as the number one pick to go from Vegas. I am absolutely going with Matthew Stafford.
All right. Jabba.
I'm going to go Dak Prescott. I mean, to look at just like his completion ratio is almost 70% at a career where he's kind of stayed at about 67-ish percent. Like I said earlier, he's always the bridesmaid, just never the bride. Always, I personally think, and Speedy, you touched on this too. We talk about voter fatigue, and that necessarily doesn't come necessarily from a team, but I think it literally plays a part in some of what he does, and he doesn't get, the love that he should get. And I mean, just his ratio of touchdown to interception, and how I think as a leader of the team and what he's done, he's kind of kept guys in check. And when you do that, that just shows you as a leader. And as he gets older, he's not losing. He's 32 years old, obviously he's not Stafford old, but he's no spring chicken either, and he continues to do it at a high caliber. And there's something to be said about that too.
All right. So everybody looks at the quarterbacks, and this is where they're going. I'm going offset on this. And this guy has had an unbelievable season. I know Fish is probably going to have smiles on his face. I'm going to go Jaxson Smith the Jigba. He has a chance to break records this year. His numbers are ridiculous. I don't think that you can question what he is doing right now. I think he has been sensational. Yes, everybody, he's been the best wide receiver in the NFL. I don't think you can argue that right now. He has been electrifying, and everybody knows that the ball is going to him, and you still can't stop him. Jaxson Smith did Jigba.
All right. Wait, did you say just say Jaxson Smith and Jigba?
I did.
Oh, okay. Just double checking. Very smart, currying favor with voters that way.
Yeah, Fish, I was just gonna say, if I didn't recall, I heard that was a name that you brought up a lot early on in the year.
Shut up, Jabba.
I'm just saying, I mean, I just remember he was saying that.
And look at Jabba driving the wedge in this coalition.
Well, yeah, I mean, for MVP, that's big nuts. I mean, I see the game you're playing over here.
I don't think the list is that good.
I mean,
let's go back to you then, Jabba.
I don't hate that one either, but and I'm gonna go. Obviously, I'm gonna go Drake May just because I'm gonna use Errol's sophomore slumps. That your sophomore year is the year we figure out if you're the guy or not, and it may be 1 in a million, but just not only is he leading the league in breakout year, obviously, but deep passes and being able to expand the field. And I love seeing dudes that are out there to prove people wrong. And now it's him and Stafford being 1 and 2. And I think with what he's got left, he's got a chance to go out and reel this thing in. Obviously his schedule is a little bit favorable than some people's, but you still got to go complete the passes, and he's done it all year. So he could go down as one of the highest completion rates ever in the history of the quarterback. So it'll be interesting.
All right, my
Next
final
one's
one.
Errol.
I'm sorry. I am surprised he's not on this list. I'm surprised that nobody would put this guy on this list, because the season he's having is absolutely remarkable. And that's Myles Garrett. Myles Garrett should be on this MVP list. It's ridiculous how you have Drake May, Matthew Stafford, Dak Prescott, Jordan Love, Josh Allen, Sam Darnold, maybe, Caleb Williams, Patrick Mahomes, Jonathan Taylor's had a great season. Bo Nix and Jackson Smith-Njigba. I mean, Jackson Smith over Bo Nix. I don't know how Myles Garrett's not on this list. He has been unbelievable.
When was the last defensive player to win MVP?
It was in the 70s. It was Alan Page, the defensive tackle from the Vikings.
Yeah, Myles Garrett is doing something we might never see again.
Lawrence
He's
Taylor
going
won
to break.
MVP.
That's not true. Lawrence Taylor.
No, but I'm saying he's going to break the record. I think he's breaking the record, and he's going to do it in I think shorter time than obviously than Lawrence Taylor did. I think he breaks the record. I think he's going to do something we've never seen any person do. I'm going Myles Garrett. He has been as dominant as a player, defensive player we've ever seen in a very long time. Even better than
Fish,
TJ
was that
Watt.
the answer? Defensive player or what we were talking about?
The defensive player. So Speedy named there was the only other guy besides Lawrence Taylor who did it in 1986. The year the Giants won. He had 20 and a half sacks as a stand-up off-the-ball linebacker, not as an edge rusher, but as an off-the-ball linebacker. He had 20 and a half sacks, which is just from the 4-3. So it's not like he was like in a 3. It was just crazy what he was doing.
It's ridiculous that Myles Garrett is not on this list. It's ridiculous.
I agree with you.
Absolutely.
Last one. Let's finish up the game. Jabba.
Well, that was poopy because I was hoping that you'd let me have that one. But I mean, I guess I got to go with Jonathan Taylor. I think at this point, if I'm going to go with anybody right now, with offensively, I'm not sold on Jordan Love because of the Jekyll and Hyde of I don't know what you're going to get. He's shown signs of it, but he's also pissed on himself too. So, and Jonathan Taylor's been consistent. More so, had a rough week last week, but I think just the crazy part too is he's almost 1,000 yards after contact. That's crazy. He was at like 953 last week, and just to watch him continue run the ball after that's impressive. And to see how many yards, fastest to 1,000 in how many games? Great year. Those bad weeks are going to add up, but I think if anybody had a chance or a super dark horse, if he finishes the last 4 or 5 games with what he's done all year, I think he's in the conversation.
Suck my Indo.
I love Jonathan Taylor, but when you said somebody pissed on himself, it reminded me of Bad Santa, and I watched that movie again last night. That movie, every single time I could sit and watch it, I am laughing my ass off. I was eating dinner late at night, and I was drinking water, and I just spit it out. When
Billy Bob Thornton's low key funny.
Oh my God, that movie is so
flat. It's like the funniest of the.
If you haven't started Landman, you wouldn't expect it to be funny. It'd be funny, but Billy Bob is hilarious.
I better check that out.
I've heard that
it's really
They
good.
just started the second season, right? All right, so I'm going to give you my vote. I'm going to read off who everyone took so we remember it. You don't have to memorize it. Errol took Stafford, JSN, and Myles Garrett. Jabba took Dak, May, and Jonathan Taylor. Here's how I'm going to match it up. I'm going to match up Stafford versus May. I, too, think Stafford is better than May. I would go with Stafford, so I'm going to give that one to Jabba, to Errol, rather. I am then going to match up, it looks like, Dak and Myles Garrett.
It was Jaxson. It was Jackson.
Right. No, I'm going to save the offensive players to match up against each other.
Right.
But I don't know, man. I really, really like Myles Garrett, and I think Dak is benefiting from 2 of the 5 best receivers in the league right now being on his team. So I'm going to give both of those to Errol, and I also am going to give JSN over Jonathan Taylor. I think Jonathan Taylor's had a couple of bad games in there. Although he has been awesome this season. JSN's just doing certain things with separation that nobody saw coming. He's doing the thing where everyone thought he was a slot receiver, and now he's playing outside more than he played inside. That's what Antonio Brown did when he was getting to the top of his game. I would start thinking of him as a similar type of star player at the receiver position going forwards. Give me Errol on this one. Jared, who you got?
It's really close for me. I consider Dak and Stafford neck and neck. Dak just doesn't have the defense to help him out. I think Jonathan Taylor is a little bit more of the engine behind his team than JSN is. But what it comes down to is in my first King of the Hill months ago, Errol eliminated me for saying Drake May had one of the most impressive performances of week whatever it was. And out of pure spite, I will go with Jabba for taking Drake May.
That's right. Listen, just like we found out in the year 2016, Trump won the first time. 13,000 people voted for a dead gorilla named Harambe. So,
Aaron Judge got 11 mayoral votes.
I should have voted. I would have voted for him. I voted for Derek Jeter one year. I don't remember which election it was.
Didn't you were talking about Harambe? Didn't Harambe?
Yeah, Harambe got like 15,000 votes in 2016. He was a dead gorilla from a zoo in Ohio.
I had friends that voted for him. I remember that.
Vote for Harambe. I think they were like those like faded Che Guevara like pictures of Harambe. It was an interesting time, 2016. Anyway, let's go to Speedy. Its votes tied 1-1.
Yeah, it's very close, Jabba. I do like the pettiness of taking away Dak Prescott from him because obviously he would have taken him second otherwise.
No, I wouldn't have. I had no interest to take.
Really? Okay.
No, I didn't.
All right. Well,
I'm just looking at what these guys did this season.
So I do applaud the effort though, but I'm going to take Errol. I like his argument for Myles Garrett at the end. Going with the defensive MVP, like the historic angle type thing, was very good. And again, I think your first argument is kind of canceled out. So
You're talking about two players that historically are possibly going to break records.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
All right. Well, historically, you break a tie with the last guy, and here he is, Tommy Scoops. It's 2-1 right now. Who you going with?
I know you just said that about breaking a tie. You're probably going to hate me. Errol, I did like your list. But honestly, Jabba, all three of those players that you picked are definitely the players that I would have selected as well, too. You definitely can see May, Dak, and Jonathan Taylor being MVPs over in Jigba and Myles Garrett this year, definitely 100%. So I'm going to actually go Jabba, playing devil's advocate here. Not intentional, but I'm going Jabba on this. So,
all right, so Tommy, thanks for making me have to do extra work on a segment.
Sorry.
Go on that one, Tommy.
Just flip a coin.
Here's what we do.
All right, you want to flip the coin, Jabba?
We're not flipping a coin. We're not putting a runner on second base. All right. But what we are going to do is ask you to come up with one more guy each for the same question. And let's see who you got. And we're just going to vote on it one more time. Give you a second to look at your list again. Errol, since you're the reigning king, you can decide to go first or second.
I'm going to go first. And it's very close. I'm not taking Jordan Love because he's too wishy-washy. Josh Allen, too wishy-washy. So it's between these two guys. I'm not going to mention these two guys, but I like both of them. But I'm going to go with the youngster. I'm going to go with the guy that is doing something with the Bears that a lot of people did not predict. And he's standing out to me. He's making the plays. He's not putting up ridiculous numbers. And I know a lot of people are going to like the other guy a little bit more because of what he's doing with somebody else. I'm going to go with Caleb Williams. I think Caleb Williams has been sensational. I think he's led the team. Everybody said that this guy wasn't a leader. Well, this year, he speaks to the media a little bit differently. He started the season a little wishy-washy because he went into the quarterback room and some of the coaches said they can't stand the way he acts inside the quarterback room and it doesn't show up. But I think it's changed in the second half of the season. I think he's bought into Ben Johnson's offense, and you can see the difference in the second half. He's putting up these numbers, and he's doing it in a way with a great running game, and he's just doing it in a way I didn't think he was going to. I'm going to go Caleb Williams. I like what Caleb Williams is.
All right, Jabba.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Justin Herbert. I know some of his yards are different. This one's tough because you kind of don't know which direction you're gonna go. And I know he's had some trash yards at the end, but even if you got trash yards, you still got yards, and you still have to complete passes, and you still got to be able to do that. I do like Caleb Williams too. I think he's going to be really good. But yeah, Caleb was my choice, and then I was like, shit, I better go with Herbert. But yeah, I was going to go with somebody younger that you didn't expect, but that was really about all I had.
Oh, and I love Justin Herbert all season, and the last couple of games, he hasn't looked the same. The team, so many guys they've lost. It bothers me that Justin Herbert, he was on his way, I think, as an MVP.
I agree.
but he's just fallen off. I could not put him in this, even in the top 10 right now. Either Daniel Jones, he's fallen off too. He looked like he was going to be a sure top 5 guy, and he's fallen off over the last couple of weeks. The guy that I thought you should have went with was Sam Darnold. I think it's
All right, well, we got to make our choice. Again, we base it on argument. It's not just who the player was.
I was gonna go with a coach and throw shit way off.
I love that. But Java, since you kind of capitulated, saying that you wanted to take Caleb, went with Herbert. I'm going
First of
with
all,
Earl.
use words that I understand. I don't know what the fuck capitulate means.
It means exactly what you freaking think it means, man. You capitulated, bruh. You kind of threw in the towel, is what I'm saying. And because by explaining it that way, that you wish you could have taken the guy that he took. So therefore, I'm gonna go with the guy that he took in that scenario with using that logic. Jarrett.
Yeah, I mean, I picked on spite last time, and I think this is close enough where I don't like Caleb Williams, but I also don't think I think he's been a little bit better than Herbert this year. So I'll go with Errol.
Speedy.
Yeah, I think both kind of similar circumstances. Now the Bears do have better skill players, but both good coaches. I think still Chicago playing in a tough division the way they are this year. Caleb Williams, they've had to win a lot of close games because, like I mentioned, they've underperformed at points. Their defense has been hurt all year. I'm going to give a slight edge to Errol, but it was a very good battle.
All right, Tommy, your vote, even though it is.
All right. Yep, it's over. But Jabba, hey man, I tried having you hang around there, but similar like Fish said and Jared as well. I think that Caleb Williams has had a tad bit of a better season, considering someone that made the switch from Justin Herbert on his fantasy team, putting Caleb Williams over him. It's definitely paid off a lot well the last couple of weeks. So I'm definitely going with Errol on this one.
Yeah, I mean,
All right, there it is.
I would too, but Herbert has better numbers, but that's fine.
Yeah.
I just said it based on the logic, my logic.
Oh no, I agree,
personally think
and I just wanted to get
Herbert's
this
a better
segment
player.
over with. So
The segment's
That's why you
over.
wanted to flip a coin. You thought he had a better shot with the coin.
It's all Tommy's fault in the first place. So we're
Hey,
gonna blame Tommy.
It's my
Hey,
fault.
Errol, that means you stay king of the hill.
I love Lisa Ann. Java takes it up the ass.
Nithin's running away, ladies and gentlemen.
So now the real question: what would have happened if Nithin was the deciding vote?
I think Nithin would have gone.
we would still be here. He would still be like discerning what's going on.
After he checks out Abdul Carter's internet search history.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we call this "What's That Smell?"
Hold up. What is that smell? What's that smell?
Wow, you don't see that every day.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's pretty simple how we play this game. It's really, we tell you a story and we tell you what it smells like. And hopefully it doesn't smell like anything Speedy, pulls out of his ass, because he pulls these weird things out of his ass. Probably writes it down on a piece of paper so we can get the answer down as fast. Anyways, all right, let's hope he doesn't pull something really out of his ass, because it might be a hairy one. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go. I'm going to say Fish. I'm going to go Speedy. I'm going to go Poops. I'm going to go Jarrett. I'm going to go Jabba. I'm going to go me.
All right, let's get the music going for What's That Smell?
What's that smell?
Blow my back out.
I'm going to start with my brother-in-law, who was on the show a couple months ago. His favorite team, Penn State, and a little comments made by former Steelers quarterback Ben Roethlisberger on his podcast. Well, apparently, he decided that it's time for Mike Tomlin, I don't know, maybe to just reset, and he offered the idea of that he should be coaching Penn State University next year, staying in the state that he's already in and switching over to college, even though it's something Tomlin said he would never do. I don't know if it's such a bad idea. To me, I think that might be exactly what the doctor had ordered for Penn State, for sure. If Tomlin wants to do it, he seems like the type of guy that would dominate at that level in the recruiting phase and all those things. Again, if he wants to do it. But does he want to do it? He's still able with this, what most of us think, not a very good roster in Pittsburgh. able to get that team going. So they're over 500. He can do it with a bad team. That's the sign of a legendary coach. He's a Hall of Fame coach. We need to make sure we understand that. This is a Hall of Fame coach already. He doesn't have to do this. But Bill Belichick tried to do it, and he's not being successful. It's really interesting to see if Mike Tomlin would rise to that challenge. So I looked up what things smell like the most in Penn State University for Mike Tomlin. And here it is. Natural, and this is AI, of course, and campus-specific smells. The first one, cow manure. Agricultural roots, the farm smell can drift onto campus. Bradford pear trees. Certain trees on campus have been described as having an unpleasant odor, some likened to seminal fluid mixed with Bisquick. And then there is Ode to Penn State, a fragrance company that once developed scents to evoke the campus. It was described as having vanilla, lilac, and rose, while the cologne had blue cypress and cracked pepper. Some of that pepper. That's all I got for you.
All right, so actually for the second straight week, I have a What's That Smell related to a similar theme as the person who went before me. So Scoops, we both have the Spitters that 1 week.
Oh,
and
we did.
Fish, we both have a Penn State team, but it's the Penn State versus Crumble Cookies incident because of BYU. Apparently their CEO, and Jason McGowan, is a big BYU booster. And the report saying he was a big reason factoring to their coach in Kalani Sakate getting an extension from BYU when he was the favorite to take the Penn State job. So this led to a bunch of funny things after that. So you had the Barstool Penn State Twitter page going, our Penn State Creamery, which, by the way, does seem like a good place, is better than Crumble Cookies. There was James Franklin at his Virginia Tech, opening press conference, something like that. They served Crumble Cookies as a dessert for that. And then the best one of all, BYU's actually sent to the front of the Penn State offices for the football facility some Crumble Cookies right at the door. So a bunch of pettiness involved in that whole feud, which is very funny. Kalani Sakate, one of my favorite coaches in college football, by the way, and he stays with BYU, and Penn State's still searching. So we have a little twofold for What's That Smell. For BYU, it smells like a brownie batter, Crumble Cookies fresh out of the oven. And for Penn State, it smells like a 10-year-old Crumble Cookies from when Christian Hackenberg was playing, scooped up with the dog crap of the Eagles Super Bowl championship parade.
You are one weird person.
So vivid.
I was next. I think I'm next, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. So going over to the world of wrestling, I'm going to be talking about 53-year-old, over 7 feet, weighing almost 400 pounds, The Big Show. Big Show, Paul White. Yes, exactly. Mr. Paul himself. Over the weekend, he came out on Mr. Sam Robinson's podcast, the Not Sam podcast, talking about how he thinks he has a couple more years in him. He's not ready to lace up the boots just yet. He's not calling on retirement. And for the love of God, someone who loved to watch The Big Show as a kid growing up, please retire, Paul. I mean, it doesn't look, man. I remember seeing Big Show come out on an event over in the Coliseum back many, many years ago, probably the pandemic era, a little bit before the pandemic. So I want to say 2019. Big Show walking to the ring back then, he looked like a wrestler that was wrestling for 30 years back then. And that was already 6 years ago. So something that was a little more recently, he went out on an AEW event. And in the AEW event, I tried to find the picture. I wasn't quick enough with it, though. But however, at this AEW event, him standing up straight, his knees looked absolutely terrible, pointing in every single direction, but straight. So for the love of God, someone like as big as Big Show, the weight that's been carrying on his back for the 30 years that he's been wrestling, I hope that someone like him retires and transitions to more of an executive role. Sort of what Mark Henry's done in the last couple years. He's been a bit of a coach, a bit of a trainer for the wrestling squads like AEW and whatnot. So
Scoop sits on the shitter.
I think that's how Big Show should transition his career instead of still wrestling like he thinks he can. So what does it smell like? If he does get in the ring, I promise you that match is going to smell like the crap / diarrhea or whatever it was that the Big Show took that time when he stole Eddie Guerrero's Mexican food.
My rear
And there
end
you
is
go.
burning.
It would be after eating Mexican food.
All right.
All right.
Jared, let's get it, man. The frozen Jared Tundra.
Tell me Jared's frozen again with another
Those are so good.
It is a good looking pose, though.
It looks like he's about to
good. At least
He really looks like.
if it's a
Hold
good
on.
looking pose, I'll stick with it.
Like a serial killer.
It looks like a serial killer. Right there.
Works. That's
Good.
like serial
Good,
killer.
good, good.
It looks like Ted.
I'm fine
You
with
know,
that.
Ted Bundy, right there.
Okay. Announced today was the cast for this new American biographical sports film on John Madden. It's just gonna be self-titled Madden. The cast was the craziest thing I've ever seen. Every different name, crazier than last. First, we got Shane Gillis in an undisclosed role. We've got Christian Bale as Al Davis, John Mulaney as Trip Hawkins, the EA guy, Catherine Hahn as Virginia Madden, Sienna Miller as Carol Davis, and in the starring role as John Madden is Nicolas Cage. What? It got great. The more I read it, I could not believe what I was reading. What's that smell? In honor of John Madden Thanksgiving, I'm gonna say it smells like turducken because I don't know what to expect, but I know it's gonna be weird, and I know I'm gonna try it.
Did Johnny Depp get him that role?
I did a story on this as soon as I found out about it. It had to be a year ago, I think. We've been talking. I've been.
We
excited
did talk
for
about it
this
on the
movie.
show when it first came out. I don't know if you used it as what's that.
100%. As soon as the first set photos came out, I got on it.
Doesn't make sense.
It's gonna be interesting movie. Christian Bale's a fantastic actor, and Nicolas Cage.
I love Christian Bale.
American Psycho.
American Psycho. He was great.
All right, Jabba, you're up, man.
I'm into yeah.
I'm going to go to something that happened about, not even a week ago, where Kevin Petula's house was burglarized as he was gone. And yeah, it was eggs or whatever, but man, you can tell me I suck. You can tell this, and I've said this before, but like when you do it, like when my family's home, I don't care if it's eggs or whatever, but that's just like crossing the line. And obviously he's not a hermit. People know where he lives. I'm assuming it's probably a nice neighborhood. I'm sure he's not on the streets of Philly. And that for me is just, it crosses the line when family comes in. That smells like just people just not having some feel like, hey, you know what? This is my house. Like, do anything you want to me, but let's have a little respect and whatever and dignity for my family. And it smells like people just running around with dirty, shitty draws, just being miserable because they're Eagles fans.
He tastes himself.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, my final what's that smell is
Diarrhea down their leg. And
it's definitely diarrhea down their leg. I'm going to go with him. And I did this 2 years ago, and I went with this team to win the national championship. They came short. I'm going to go with them this year. I'm going to go with Purdue. I think Purdue has a chance this year to win the national championship. 8-0. I'm not going with Shire. I'm not going with Duke because I don't trust Shire in the big game. But I do trust Duke. Purdue. I'm sorry. I do trust Purdue. And by the way, our boy, Braden Smith is on the team, on the roster this year. So, I'm going with Purdue. They've been first of all, they're every year they have the most size. They can rebound. I think they're the best defensive rebounding team in all of college basketball. They're one of the best offensive rebounding teams in the league, and they're a great shooting team. I expect them to go all the way to the Final Four this year unless some surprise thing happens. I wouldn't be surprised if they go undefeated all season long. This is a really, really good team and very well coached. One of the more underrated coaches in all of college basketball. So I'm going Purdue to win the national championship.
Unless
Big
something
Ten,
weird,
baby.
unless something weird happens, one of our friends in Tobin Anderson contributed to that 3 years ago.
Yes, and I want to tell you what it smells like. It doesn't smell nothing but beautiful roses not coming out of Speedy's ass. So there you go. So anything away from Speedy's ass is probably civil and safe. So stay away from his ass. Anyways, it was a wonderful show. I will say that the content was great. Again, one more time, I'd like to apologize to Critton Jammer if I upsetted him, which it seemed like I did. So hopefully we could talk on the phone and figure out what upsetted him as much as it did. But I apologize to him, and I apologize to Antonio Cromartie if he felt like I disrespected him, which I don't know how I did. But if he thought I did, my apologies goes out to Critton Jammer. By the way, thank you to Charlie Slows for joining us. He was sensational. We really appreciate him. He gave us some great takes, and baseball is nothing without Charlie Slows and the Jobster. And we could have had Nick Goody on that one, but Nicky is coaching some young baseball. But we'll have Nick Goody on next week. So thank you to all the fans on all the social medias. Guys that reached out to me during the show, wondering what happened to Quentin Jammer. You guys know now. So I apologize to the fans if I upsetted them on not getting the interview out. Again, we'll get Quentin Jammer on the show. I'll get a chance to have a conversation with him and hopefully clean up whatever happened in any kind of way. And that's why when you get a guest on the show, he's supposed to have a conversation on what he wants to talk about. If he doesn't like the offset stuff that we usually do on the show. That's what I would say on that. And hopefully he's not in his car the next time he comes on the show. I hate that. But anyways, again, thank you to all the Spotify, Apple fans, the YouTube fans, the TikTok fans, the Twitter fans, the X fans, all the fans on all our show, Instagram, all the fans following us. Keep following us keep downloading us and keep enjoying the content that we put out. I have a story up there about New York radio, and I think people should check it out. It's a great read. All right. And if you like New York sports and you're wondering why New York sports sucks so much, maybe you should read that. Anyways, I have to laugh because I enjoy the show, and I think our show is one of the best in the country. And I think if nobody has tuned into it or had a chance to tune into it or doesn't know what we do on this show, well, now you know. And you know that we could be outlandishly crazy and funny at the same time, but we know our stuff, we know our sports, and we have a lot of fun doing it. So we appreciate all the fans that stand by us and listen to us and watch us and tune into us every single week. What do we have on? Who do we have on next week?
So Nathan was able to get one. Connor Harris, he's a player for the Savannah Bananas. He'll be joining us Monday at 8:45. I'm going to try to get our friend Adam Byrant, the coach, as well. I'm going to see if he'll join us as well, if his player's coming on. So he'll be on Monday. And then on Wednesday, Matt Gage, he pitched this season. He's a relief pitcher, played for the Giants and the Tigers this season. He'll be joining us on Wednesday at 9 o'clock.
That'll be fun. A little Gagey. Oh, well, it's not Gage, Justin Gage or whatever. Anyways.
No, he's a football player.
I know. Anyways, it's been a great one. Again, fans, if you missed any of the show, go check it out. Go check it out on Job on the Mouth, Spotify and Apple, YouTube. We'll have clips. By the way, Jared is one more week with us, right, Jared? I think it's one more week with us.
Yeah, I believe that's right.
Yeah, and Jared, you could come on whenever you want. So it's not one more week. If you want to join us, whenever you want to join us, you could be a state. 2 more. 2 more. Oh, I'm sorry. 2 more weeks.
That went over like a fart in church.
As it always does. Anyways, again, we appreciate you guys. We love you. Stay tuned. On Friday, we've got another show, Speedy.
Friday.
We have. Oh, I'm sorry. Today.
Oh, tomorrow.
Yes. I'm sorry.
Tune into
Thursday.
Game On with Josh Silverberg and probably his father at 6 p.m.
Can I give him? What is his father's name? Go ahead. Nelson. Nelly Nell. We love Nelson. He's a Green Bay Packer fan too, and a Boston Brewer fan. How does that match? I don't know. Anyways, Nelson
with a Mets fan mixed in there.
Oh, it doesn't make any sense. None of it, and a Nick fan. Anyways, thank you. We'll talk to you next week. Good night.
It's the world